That was not what I was expecting. What? Okay. Prime Gaming, yeah, who cares? Free for all. Wait, what was that? I'm curious. Into Pride. Extravaganza. Through bonus fame. And yeah, free for all. Oh, Splunky. Okay. Okay, interesting take. Okay, I'm reading the beta stuff right now, so give me a second. Future Fall Guys tests and other related shenanigans. Cool answer. Member of the Board of Beans. You must be 18. Mediatonic Macy. Record what is happening in the game. Okay, I'll mess around with that later. That is interesting, though. Gosh, 9 days. Yeah, today's the 11th. Yeah, so it's a little more than 10 days. Yeah, wow. Medieval Madness. I actually kind of don't care. I know they're doing shows to go back through the season right now. So yeah, welcome back to In Chat for the... We are currently in the middle of the hurricane that is E3. Or Summer Games... Again, Summer Games Fest. I really should have started with that story. E3 will return. It didn't happen until, like, Tuesday, so that's why... I think all the other the first two stories of the night happened on Monday. I did consider starting with it, but nah. But yeah, so we're in the middle of Summer Games Fest right now. There's actually a whole... I didn't know this, but I guess Jeff Keighley is actually doing like a Days of Play thing for Summer Games Fest, where people can actually play Summer Games Fest, right? Where people can actually play some of these games. So people have been playing Street Fighter 6. People have been playing Sonic Frontiers, even though all footage of Sonic Frontiers is being copyright struck. So yeah, nobody's able to play Sonic. So like any footage that people are... Because like people have been recording footage of Street Fighter, and they've been putting it on social media. People have been recording footage of Sonic Frontiers, and it's just all been getting struck down. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's still out there in some places, but you're not going to find it on like YouTube or Twitter, which I supposedly, from the people who have been playing it, it's actually really good. But yeah, I didn't know that was happening. But yeah, we're in the middle of Summer Games Fest right now. So today is kind of like a, hey, here's like your halfway progress check-in. I did consider delaying today's show until tomorrow. You know, after we have Xbox's big thing. I did consider it, and I probably should have, honestly, especially because we're going, what, at like 10 o'clock at night? 11? It's pretty late. It's pretty freaking late tonight, but I was busy today. But yeah, I had fun though. Talk about that way later. But yeah, we have so many news stories tonight. Oh my gosh, because it's the middle of E3. So we have like a lot of stories, first of all. And then every story has like 9 subheadings. So nothing is simple tonight. So as a result, we're going to just jump right into it. So our first story comes from a Fanbyte, a la Emron Khan. So if you remember, I think during this very show, a few weeks ago, it was probably episode like 1 or 2, Emron Khan had mentioned an upcoming Switch game that it was really going to disappoint fans. right? That was just going to be a massive disappointment. And at the time, I had no idea what it could be, right? Unless, like, Nintendo had gone, like, fully free-to-play or something, right? Well, what that game was finally came out. They finally put out a news article stating what that game was. And it's a sequel to 1-2 Switch. For those who don't know / don't remember, 1-2 Switch was one of the Switch's, like, 3 launch titles. Breath of the Wild, and God, the only other thing I can think of that launched on the Switch day one was Spectre of Torment. But yeah, it was a launch title. It's basically the Switch's equivalent of Wii Sports or Nintendo Land. The only difference is Wii Sports and Nintendo Land were pack-in games, whereas 1-2 Switch was a full, I think it was $50, so it wasn't a full $60 game. But it was still a $50 game. And it maybe had like a half hour of fun content in it. Not like super fun, just like a half hour of content. And that was it. So yeah, it seems to have been a massive disappointment. That 1-2 Switch. But because it was one of the 3 games that launched with the Switch, it sold really well. So Nintendo got it in their thick skulls that, hey, because the game sold so well, we should make a sequel. So that's exactly what they did. They made a sequel for 1-2 Switch. The name that the name that's been settled on is Everybody's 1-2 Switch. Because it's a game that supports 100-player lobbies. Which, okay, 100-player lobbies, you know, that's... Again, that could be fun. If done right. Like, I think of, like, those trivia games, like 1 versus 100 or some shit like that, right? Like, there's potential there for something like that. And the interesting thing is that when developing this game, when thinking about, like, hey, what direction can we take 1-2 Switch? Because 1-2 Switch is basic. Again, it should have been a pack-in game. It's a lot like on the PS5, which we're currently playing on. You have Astrobot's Playroom, which is a pack-in game, or not Astrobot. Is it called Astrobot's Playroom? I think it might be. Yeah, I think it's called Astrobot's Playroom. Which is a pack-in game meant to demonstrate all the features of the DualSense controller. And it's actually a very fun game. Literally, it's so fun that I made my Game of the Year list, like, last year. Yeah, no, it's actually a very solid game. 1-2 Switch was supposed to be that for the Switch's Joy-Cons, but it was such a shitty game that, that it just underwhelmed everybody who played it. So yeah, 1-2 Switch kind of sucked the big one. But it sold really well, so Nintendo decided to make a sequel. And instead of doing, like, weird, like, Joy-Con stuff, right, feeling the balls in the controller, which was something that people really liked, what 1-2 Switch, this new 1-2 Switch does, is it's like a Jackbox game. You know how Jackbox party packs, they have you on your phone? Everybody 1-2 Switch has you on your phone doing stuff like that. Not a I mean, again, Jackbox games are really fun, actually. I really like some of those Jackbox games. The prototype Among Us was a Jackbox game. Technically, Among Us, I think, came out first, maybe. But it was still pretty fun. It was called Don't Push the Button. You can look it up. But yeah, so they're doing smartphone games like Jackbox. And it's 100-player lobbies. But the problem that's come with the game is that because it's trying to do that 1-2 Switch style minigame thing, because it has these massive lobbies, instead of having these like quick fire minigames that take like 10 seconds to learn, 30 seconds to play, whatever. Again, they're not as quick as WarioWare games, but they're still pretty quick. It's probably I never actually played 1-2 Switch. I'll fully admit that. But because of how this game has been designed, I guess it's just not very fun. Yeah, because so much is going on in this game, it's just not a very fun game. And so in like beta testings and in QA, people just haven't been having fun. And the game's made it like a long way into progress, right? It's made it to QA. It's made it to beta testing. It's made it through localization. So, right, the game has been translated into English and other languages. But yeah, it's just not very fun. Some of the other details, the host, since it's like this game show style thing, the game's gonna have a host named Horse, who is basically the horse person from the Tomska videos. Because, you know, the word horse kind of sounds like the word host. And as a result, that's led people to start calling the game horse shit. Or at least localization teams. They didn't specify if it was the Nintendo of America ones. They just said some localization teams have started calling the game horse shit, which is funny. But yeah, no, it's just been doing so bad in testing. It's just not... Because again, Nintendo, at least in theory, cares about having fun video games. Right? That's what, at least in theory, they claim about. They don't always pull it off. Again, I own Star Fox Zero. And that's a game that was intentionally... That could have been fun, but was intentionally made worse just to accommodate the Wii U. Oh wow, we were one of the last people to qualify. But yeah. So this 1-2 switch, it just doesn't seem fun. And that's kind of put Nintendo in the position of, do they release this game or not? Because if they release this bad, not fun game, does that hurt the Nintendo brand? Because Nintendo's known for fun party games. So if they put out a bad party game, does that hurt their IP? Admittedly, I think Nintendo's doing a pretty good job right now of hurting their IP anyway. Not their IP, but like their brand. Nintendo's already doing a pretty good job at that. So I think this would this would actually probably really hurt them. Right? Putting out like, because even like Mario Strikers Battle League that just came out, I didn't pick it up. I don't give a shit about it. It seems very small. I know DLC will fix some of those problems. Still doesn't change the fact that it seems very small. And yeah, in Nintendo, right, and they've been doing Nintendo Switch Sports, same thing. Mario Golf. I enjoyed Mario Golf. Doesn't change the fact that it had that problem. I only see 2 of each. But yeah, so it's, can Nintendo's brand take the hit of a bad game? And honestly, I don't know. I don't know if they can. I mean, they'll survive it, but you know, I do think that at this point, after all the middle of the road games they've put out, this will hurt them. Especially because since the first 1-2 Switch sold so well, the higher-ups at Nintendo are convinced that they can put this game out for $60 and that it will sell. And yeah, a lot of people already complain that Nintendo games are too pricey. Right, there was that survey where that had WarioWare at like less at $50, and and even though the WarioWare game seemed fine, I still think it was too expensive at $50. Some people argue that Wii Sports is too expensive at $40, and they're not entirely wrong about that. 4, 3, 1. I only see 1. Okay, I see 2 of the raspberries. Oh, 0. 0 coconuts. So yeah, this whole thing with 1-2 Switch, right now their weighing is if they put it out. I don't think there's been any talk about putting it out at less than $60 from what it sounds like. But instead, they're talking about, what if they put it out as part of Nintendo Switch Online, the expansion pass? Right? They just put the full game, so anybody who has the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass gets this game. And I don't think that's a terror. Honestly, between buying the game at a full $60 and having it as part of the expansion pass along with, the Splatoon Octo expansion, the Mario Kart, the Animal Crossing. I think that's a much better thing. I still totally think this game has the potential to hurt Nintendo's brand, but I do... And the other problem is that this game is far enough in development that they have already started printing cartridges for it, and like boxes. Of course, cartridges can theoretically be recycled. Boxes for sure can be recycled. So it's just, do they take a loss on those boxes and whatnot that they've already started printing? And I do definitely think it is something to be considered. And the last thing I will say about this one is that as part of Imran Khan, I don't know if he says that, I don't remember if he said this in the article, but I know he said it during Kinda Funny Games Cast. Is that this game will inevitably come out. This is not going to be something that Nintendo delays forever, right? This is a game that will eventually release. So even though the game seems bad, Nintendo might still put it out anyways at the $60 price. Which, guess what? That makes Nintendo no different than any other AAA publisher. Because, you know, Square Enix has done that plenty. I mean, look at Babylon's Fall. That game's a fucking mess, and they still put it out. But yeah, this game will inevitably come out, and I'm gonna call it's gonna come out like this year. In fact, I will say, I would bet it's gonna be announced at the upcoming Nintendo Direct, and will release in like August. I don't know if Nintendo has an August game planned at the moment, but they're definitely gonna get. Admittedly, they could hold it for that December release date, get it out right before Christmas. But yeah, I think it would be in their best interest to put this as part of the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass. I mean, I won't play it either way, but yeah, this game just seems like a fucking mess. And so I can reasonably see it being part of that. I think that's the better move than the alternative of charging $60. Because yeah, Nintendo already has that problem. And especially if they put this game out for a full $60, that hurts their image even more. Right? Like, Nintendo's already has a problem charging too much for their games. And with their games being lesser and lesser every year. But putting this game out at the full $60 price point definitely will hurt their brand. And definitely will have more people complaining about them charging $60 for everything. Again, there used to be something called a middle shelf game. A smaller game that had a smaller budget that studios would charge less money for. Nintendo actually used to be really good at making middle shelf games, and they did it. I'm pretty sure they still did it during the Wii era. Them and like, was it Capcom was the other one? I know there was like one other studio that was making middle shelf games. Maybe not. It might have been PlayStation, but I don't think it was. I don't know. Nintendo was really good at making middle shelf games for a while, but definitely during like the Wii U, the later Wii era, into the Wii U, and now into the Switch. No, it's always $60. And admittedly, the 3DS helped with that, because the 3DS games were always $40. But no, I do definitely think this is inevitably coming out, and it's gonna be a trash fire. It's gonna be one of those things where like people play it for like a day and then never touch it or think about it again. I know a lot of people say that for Fall Guys. I know a lot of people say that for that Nintendo Switch Sports that just came out. A lot of people are gonna say it for Mario's Battle League. Admittedly, I'm still having fun with Nintendo Switch Sports. I still play bowling all the time. I didn't pick up Battle League. And again, anyone who calls something a dead game, a game only dies when people just stop talking about it absolutely. Like Bleeding Edge. Like, Radical Heights. Like, other examples. And even sometimes, like, again, like, if you would, I would think PUBG is 100% dead, but I know people still play it, so... And I say PUBG is dead because I haven't heard people talk about it in years. But no, as far as I actually did see a clip the other day of somebody playing PUBG. Like a Twitch highlight. So, yeah, I guess people are still playing it. At least somewheres people are. But yeah, the only games that are dead are the games nobody talks about. The games nobody remember is dead in the first place. Yeah. Next up, that takes us to Sonic Central. So Sega, the Sonic team, announced that they were doing a Summer Games Fest showcase thing called, Sonic Central. I think this is the second ever Sonic Central. And it was announced, I want to say, it happened, Tuesday? And I want to say it was announced, Monday or maybe Sunday. Right? It was announced and then happened, right away. So it was, one of those things that came, right around the corner. I did not watch this one live. I watched, I think I watched someone's, reaction video to it. Probably kind of funnies. Later that day. Because I think I was asleep when it happened. And, yeah, this showcase is a fucking... The last Sonic Central I remember being a shit show. This one, equally so. So the big announcements that nobody gives a shit about, or that people kind of give a shit about, are... Okay, so we got some new stuff on... We got another look at Sonic Origins. It comes out in, 12 days? It's right around the corner. It will hopefully be really good. But yeah, we got another look at that. Sonic Prime... They confirmed that Shadow will be in Sonic Prime. They also confirmed today, during the Netflix show, I think it was today, it might have been yesterday, but I think it was today, that Big the Cat will also be in the Sonic show. But when I say they confirm these characters, it's literally a 10-second teaser. And it's not even any footage of the show, it's just footage of the character standing there. It's fucking ridiculous, man. This would have been a great time to actually, show some footage of this show. Right? Our first sneak preview. Nope. Fucking nothing. Next up, they announced that Sonic Frontiers is going to have a prologue. And it has something to do with Knuckles and the Master Emerald. Other than that, we know fuck all about it, because it was basically the zoom on a still image. It was garbage. Again, a lot of this show is garbage. And then we did get a little bit of gameplay of Sonic Frontiers. Specifically them talking about how IGN is doing their special coverage of it. But during that gameplay, you have Sonic running on a boss as he tries to go from the tailed, it's a giant flying serpent. And I'd be lying if I said it didn't give me Shadow of the Colossus vibes, because it kind of does, and I love anything that gives me Shadow of the Colossus vibes. Oh, they did talk about Sonic and Fall Guys, and they made it sound like, oh, Sonic's coming to Fall Guys. Knuckles was right there. And they also, they may have, I don't know if Tails is in Fall Guys. They might have confirmed that Tails is coming. But Knuckles and Sonic are already in Fall Guys. It was a really fucking weird showcase. But yeah, they showed off some new Sonic Frontiers stuff. Again, the IGN coverage of Sonic Frontiers has been terrible. Except for the fact that IGN admits that even though their footage is terrible, every account from IGN says that the game is really fun. Right? So far, they have been really enjoying the game. And everyone who's been playing it at the Summer Games Fest thing has been enjoying it, right? Even though all the footage is getting taken down, everyone who has played it has enjoyed it. So it seems like Sonic Frontiers, again, even though it's getting horrible press, the actual, press they're showing the public is terrible. Yeah, the footage they're showing the press, they're showing the public just looks awful. The game might actually be very good. Right, a lot of people seem to be really liking it. I was trying to shortcut it and it didn't work. So yeah, that's the whole thing. Other than that, the rest of Sonic Central was all bullshit. It was all shit we already knew, right? Like Sonic and Knuckles being in Fall Guys. They announced, I don't know if we already knew about this, but they announced a Sonic collaboration with Roblox. Okay. They announced that the Sonic Orchestra will be touring. They talked about the Sonic mobile game. They might have announced new DLC for Sonic Forces, you know, the game that came out in like November of 2017. They might have announced new DLC for that. That's fun. Again, they might have also been talking about the mobile game. It's kind of impossible to tell because the showcase was such garbage. They talked about toys and stuff like that. They talked about the Sonic movie and how it's now available on DVD and streaming on Paramount Plus. Even though that happened like 3 weeks ago now. I think that happened like the beginning of May. Maybe the middle of May. It happened a while ago, whatever it is. Yeah, no, this showcase was... This could have been a series of tweets on the Sonic Twitter account. This showcase was fucking garbage. Admittedly, I expected it to be garbage. And it's garbage in, like, a really weird... Like, it's garbage, but it's not like, when we talk about Summer Games Fest here in a second, it's boring. Summer Games Fest was boring. This was bad. And some people will argue that boring is worse than bad. And maybe they're right, because while this showcase sucked, it was maybe 20 minutes, and it was so bad it was kind of entertaining. Right? It was watching a garbage fire. So, and again, we basically got nothing new from it. I still think it would have been nice to get like a story trailer for Sonic Frontiers during Summer Games Fest. That would have been better than this whole Sonic Central thing. Has just been a mess. But it happened. Oh, but it happened. I'm amazed we're still going. Oh my gosh, we actually got that one. Holy crap, we actually won a round. I think this is maybe the second time I've ever won Lost Temple. Yeah. Wow, that's a cool one. I have so many crowns. It's gonna suck to lose them all, you know? When it goes free for all and they just get rid of crowns. At least in the way they are right now. It's gonna suck. Yeah. I mean, like, I really should buy some of these costs, especially with them being so cheap. I should. I don't know. Alright, next up, so the ESA put out a statement saying that they do plan on E3 returning next year. I think they're going to fucking try. First of all, fuck the ESA. The ESA is a lobbyist group that fucking hates you and me, that does not want people owning video games, and it literally is a terrible organization. It doxed hundreds of people. It's just all... The ESA is scum. I hate them. Jeff Keighley, not as bad in comparison. Right? Jeff Keighley, no, he's not as bad. So I do not want E3. I know E3 is the name. I keep accidentally saying E3. But give it some time and we'll forget about it. I think the ESA they're going to try to return next year. But I don't think it's going to succeed. Really, the only thing that's, I think, keeping them around is fucking Nintendo and Ubisoft. Because they're the only two studios that haven't committed to Summer Games Fest. It's only them. Every other studio is some ways involved. So if E3 is going to make a comeback, they're going to probably do it off the tails of Nintendo and Ubisoft, who will probably still support them. Because, you know, the ESA is a lobbyist group. So when Nintendo fucks up and gets called out by the government, you know who comes to Nintendo's bat? The ESA. Yeah, they're a really shitty organization. But I think Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest is going to continue. I didn't know they were doing an in-person event thing this year, where people could try out games. I still like my idea of using cloud gaming to push out games demos to the public. I still think that's a good idea. But yeah, so it looks like E3 is going to try to return next year. I don't think they're going to pull it off. If I'm just being completely honest, I think the age of E3 is over. Because E3, even before it was canceled because of COVID, it was already in disarray. Shit was already going wrong for the ESA and E3 before Jeff Keighley stepped in and just made everything all digital. And you know, things have been going better. Did I like Summer Games Fest this year? Like the actual showcase that Jeff Keighley hosted, 2 days ago? No. Do I think it's better than E3 still? Yes. You know, at least Jeff Keighley is a centralized unit where all information is funneled through. Whereas, you know, whatever we currently have with E3 is a fucking mess. And right, them trying to make E3 a public event. Again, there is a way to get this footage out to the public in a better way than what E3 offered. Especially because to participate in E3, right, studios like Xbox and Nintendo and Ubisoft give the ESA, it costs like a few $1 million to participate in E3. Right? Like, it's not just like, oh, we're holding this trade show. No, you have to actually pay money to be part of it. And that might still be true of Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest, but I can almost guarantee you it's not nearly as much as the ESA was charging. And I know some people are worried about, like, oh, well, if the ESA is gone, what about some of those, like, smaller studios? Like, we always talk about the big games, but indies did have a presence at E3, and I'm sure there will be struggles there. But you know what? I know people will also come up with solutions, right? There's things like, the Kinda Funny Games Showcase, the, Cute Games Direct was another one. I think it was called Cute Games. Right, that was another one. There are solutions to this. And thanks to the internet. It's so weird that Nintendo isn't supporting Summer Games Fest. Because they were one of the first people to abandon... they were basically the first to abandon the live showcases. And yet they're one of the last ones holding on to the old ways of E3. It's just really fucking weird, man. Nintendo's a weird fucking studio. Next up, we got a trailer for Black Adam, which is, you know, the Shazam... I'm gonna call him the Shazam villain. Black Adam, he's basically evil Shazam. And he is, he's being played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And also in the movie, you have the JSA, Justice Society of America, which is Hawkman, Atom Smasher, Dr. Fate. I know there are some others that I'm forgetting, at least in the movie. I think there's like a green girl. It's not Phosphorus, but it's something like that. I don't know. Admittedly, I didn't know the JSA was in this movie until, like, fairly recently. Like, that was something I only learned about, like, relatively recently. But I do actually like the idea of the JSA being in this movie, right? Like, I feel like, especially, because I don't know if it's set during modern day or if it's set in the past. But I do feel like there is potential for, like, let's do the JSA in here, right? I feel like that's got a lot of possibilities. So we'll see where it goes with that. Where was I swear there were two penguins there. But yeah, the actual trailer itself I think is fine. You know, it's kind of like what you'd expect, but so it looks good. I am definitely interested in it. I'll see it. I know it is, you know, The Rock has built, like, a lot of his career on being, like, not the everyman, but, like, the give the smirk, raise the eyebrow, right? He's the hero. He's the likable guy. So seeing him play either a villain, I don't know how much they're gonna, because from what I remember from Black Adam in the comics, he's a villain. But I guess he does have anti-hero tendencies. I know he runs his own city, so I'm sure that'll be some sort of status quo. But I wonder if he's going to start off anti-hero and then become villain by the end of it, and then be the villain in Shazam 2, or if the villain in Shazam 2 is going to be Mr. Mind, which is what they set up as the caterpillar they set up at the end of the first movie. I don't know. But yeah, I really don't want, like, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson puts on the same performance in basically every movie he's in. So I would like to see something different from him. Will we actually? I don't know, but I think the trailer looks decent. You know, it's, again, the big problem with the DC universe really all centers around anything Zack Snyder has worked on or, you know, participated in. Because I just don't like his vision for the DC universe. I know some people do, but I don't think it's a good vision, personally. And Zack Snyder does not get Batman and Superman. He really doesn't. But I've bitched about that plenty before. You know, Shazam was good. I know it's different. This is a different person and everything, but I'm sure it'll be good. I hope, anyways. The Flash movie, on the other hand, is freaking hellfire right now. Like, I know they're trying to use the Flash to reboot the universe, just as complicated as comics, but everything going on with Ezra Miller is just a nightmare. It really does seem that way. Next up, so I kind of mentioned this while we were talking about, during the Summer Games Fest, which is what we'll talk about next. I think it's next. But, what the Golf developers announced their new game, What the Bat, which is a VR game about living life as if you had baseball bats for hands. I'll talk about VR a little tiny bit later today, right, when we get into the WIBE section of the show. But, yeah, I think What the Bat, it looks a lot like What the Golf. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, it's a VR game, and, you know, I don't know if it's coming to PSVR or PSVR 2. I don't know. That's my thing with, like, the Among Us VR. I think the Among Us VR looks pretty cool, but I don't know if that's coming to PSVR or PSVR 2. Right now it's just Steam and MetaQuest, which I fucking hate Facebook. I fucking hate Facebook and their MetaQuest bullshit. Fuck Facebook. But no, I just real quick wanted to, you know, tell people this existed again, because I think it looks pretty neat. What the Bat. What the Golf is, if you've never played What the Golf, I don't know what systems it, I think it's on Switch, I think it's on PlayStation, I definitely know it's on Steam. I don't think it's on Game Pass, but if you've never played What the Golf, give it a look. It's, you know, it's just a quirky little weird golf game that's very charming. It's a lot of fun. Oh wow, we're already in the finale. So yeah, give What the Golf a look. Let's do the finale and then we'll jump into Summer Games Fest. Actually, before we jump in, as we jump into Summer Games Fest, so after we finish this, during the Summer Games Fest, I mentioned a thing about NFT gaming, and like someone had like this vision for like what the glorious future of NFT gaming, but it reads like a fucking nightmare. And I mentioned I was going to read it if Summer Games Fest got like too boring, and I didn't, even though it kind of did. But I want to read it, so that's what we're gonna do. I said I was going to read it, so I'm going to read it. Oh wow, somebody's already up there. And oh, okay. So yeah, I'm gonna pull that up. I'm gonna read that real quick. So yeah, let me find it real quick. Ooh, I've never seen that. I've never seen that ending before. The hula hoop. I'm still using the one from season 1, the Jack in the Box, which was the original, getting max level. Okay, let me find it real quick. So this is someone on Facebook. This is their vision for like the future of like blockchain video games. And this is supposed to be a good thing. Like the way they've envisioned this is as a good thing. So, okay, I'm just going to read it. So, The year is 2030. It's a rainy Saturday afternoon. You just finished mining 30 obsidian ore playing Crypto Crush Saga, a match 3 mobile game. You open the Elder Chains Online. So they keep, throughout this, they'll keep replacing like game names with like blockchain bullshit. You open up the Elder Chains Online and feel a rush of excitement. Your buddy from school has spent the last 2 years becoming a master blacksmith, and he has agreed to turn 10 obsidian ore into an obsidian battle staff. A huge upgrade over your mithril mace you've been wielding for the last weeks. It'll take him an hour or so. In the meantime, you hop on to Clash of Guilds and use the remaining obsidian to upgrade your town hall to the next level. That should keep your village safe for now. You wish you could fast forward time to tonight. Your guild has plans to go for a deep run into the wilderness in an old school rune chains, and your prospects of a successful run and great loot have never been met better. All members have been spending the past 2 weeks grinding for better weapons, and you've agreed, through a vote, to use your guild's treasury to buy everyone a new set of red dragon hide armor. The objective tonight is to kill the level 120 frost giant hiding in the Cave of Sorrow. He has a 5% chance of dropping an immaculate orb of brilliance, of which there are currently only 4 in existence. The orb can be used as a powerful source in the upcoming space exploration game, and should give your guild a great advantage in reaching distant galaxies first. A 5% drop rate is low, but you're feeling optimistic. In the distance, you hear a faint, "Blockchain doesn't bring anything new to gaming." You shrug and join your friends in a Discord voice channel. Life is good. #blockchain gaming. That sounds like a fucking nightmare, man. Like, what they're saying is like, oh, well, you play one game and you get NFTs in one game, like an NFT ore that you can then spend in different games, and like how everything's connected. Which, first of all, these people who are like, oh, well, I get an NFT skin in this one game and then can use it in another game, they're fucking dreaming. The amount of shit that would have to come through to make that possible, fucking bullshit. And second of all, it's already, I mean, like, the fact that like Epic Game Store like can link up like Fortnite and Fall Guys and all this shit, and like you can have cross progression. Some of that shit's already possible. But yeah, it literally, again, video games are already trying to turn themselves into jobs. And I keep getting ads on YouTube that's like, oh, you're wasting your time if you're playing video games for fun. If you're playing video games, you should be getting something out of it. So download our plugin to make money off of your video games you play. But yeah, and then I love that the 5% chance of dropping an immaculate orb of brilliance. The rarest in RuneScape, the game they're making fun of, the rarest items have like a 0.0000001% chance of dropping. That gets you the scenario where there are 4 in existence. 5%, the market would be fucking flooded with them. Right, that's a fucking joke. Oh my gosh. And then, you can use it in a different game. Yeah, no, it's just fucking, again, these are the blockchain, NFTs, cryptocurrency, it's a fucking pyramid scheme. And this sounds exactly like a pyramid scheme. Oh my gosh. But I read that, I was just laughing my ass off. Like, that's really funny to think that this is how NFT bros think this is gonna turn out. Again, it's fucking, what is it, Mary Kay, the makeup company, but for men, right? I know somebody already joked that the stock market is just astrology for men. Same thing with NFTs are just pyramid chains for men. Like, it's the same fucking thing. And to be fair, men also have those knives are also pyramid schemes, but that's a whole other thing. It's so fucking funny. That's so sad. So, Summer Games Fest, I'm not going to talk about everything. I didn't actually check how my predictions did. I really should. But I know I got like 3 or 4 things right. Like, I know I got, I said Midnight Suns, I said Cuphead DLC. Admittedly, I said that for the Xbox Showcase. I'm sure I said other stuff. But yeah, I got a few things right, not a lot. Like, there was no BioShock. I said there was going to be no Death Stranding, and I think Jeff Keighley even came out before the show and said no Death Stranding. I said Gotham Knights. We didn't get a Silent Hill 2, but we got Bloober Team. I did not get Jeff Keighley and Fall Guys. I got Saints Row. No Dead Space remake. Instead, we got more of the Callisto Protocol. We did not get a new NetherRealms game. So I probably, of my, 15 predictions, I probably got 5 right. So about a third. But yeah, the actual Summer Games Fest show was boring, right? I think it started off very boring. But it wasn't irredeemable, because around, the probably 50-minute mark of a 2-hour show, it was an hour and 50 minutes. Around, the 50-minute mark, it got into it went away from being, all shooters and space horror games to talking about, some smaller, some indie game stuff. And that was a lot better. I found that a lot more interesting before it then went back to... And then it went to JRPG stuff. Then it ended back at, space horror, sci-fi, indie, before ending on The Last of Us. So yeah, I definitely feel like the show started weak. And, I mean, technically The Last of Us is kind of a big thing, but it also did leak the morning of, so... Again, I don't... Oh, fuck me. I don't think... Just because The Last of Us leaked, and technically, we've known about it for, 6 months to a year now. We've known about The Last of Us Part 1 remake for a while now. But I don't think that that shouldn't take away from the announcement too much. I don't know. But, the actual show... So, the things I gave a shit about. Witchfire. So, Witchfire is, right, it's a fantasy shooter game that, even though I would think fantasy shooter would be, using, slinging spells like you would shoot guns. Nah, instead, Witchfire basically looks like fantasy Doom. And honestly, if they can capture the magic of Doom 2016, but put it in, but make you a wizard, but still have that feeling of just being a boss, destroying enemies, and just being the bane of whatever these witches' existence is. I think Witchfire could actually be pretty good as a single player shooter, again akin to Doom 2016. I think this does have potential. Next up, again, so that was during the shooter space horror section. I still cannot believe there were 7 space horror games. Holy shit, Jeff. Holy shit, that's a lot of space horror. So if you like space horror, oh, you were eating well that night. Next up was High Water. So High Water is basically you're in a flooded area. It's an indie game where you're traveling around and you're meeting up with presumably other people who have survived this flood and, just trying to live. It kind of reminds me of Sea of Solitude, but less solitude-y. I don't know. I think it could be good. Again, I'm on board for the indie stuff. Next up, probably my highlight of the night was America Arcadia, which is where you're in this, right, Arcadia, this perfect civilization. But of course, it's not all perfect, and you're trying to escape. Meanwhile, people are they're broadcasting your escape on television, and some people are rooting for you, some people are trying to stop you. There's this whole game show element to it. At least that's what they said. And I think America, I really like the art style. I think America Arcadia looks pretty good. This is the one that's probably my highlight of the show. Another indie game. Again, indie games will find their place. With E3 dead, they will find their place. And some of it comes through Jeff Keighley. But yeah, no, I really did like America Arcadia. Again, I guess I should say of the new stuff, because I'm still super excited for Cuphead DLC. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Next up, Goat Simulator 3. So, the way they reveal this with the Dead Island 2 trailer. For those who don't know, 10-ish years ago, Deep Silver the developer of, I think it was Deep Silver and Techland. Those two studios worked on the original Dead Island. But then Techland was kicked off of Dead Island 2 and instead made Dying Light and Dying Light 2. Meanwhile, for the past 10 years, Deep Silver has still been working on Dying Light. Or Dead Island. So, yeah, Techland made Dying Light and Dying Light 2. And Deep Silver, which Dying Light 2 came out this year. Again, I feel like everyone's kind of forgotten that because it didn't really have that much of an impact. Maybe it came out in December of last year, but I'm pretty sure it came out this year. I feel like everyone's kind of forgotten, and it will kind of be forgotten, but I don't know. I heard it was okay. Terrible working conditions at Techland. Right? They abuse the shit out of their employees. At least from what I heard. But yeah, so we got Dead Island. It started off looking like Dead Island 2, but the studio isn't Deep Silver. Instead, it's Coffee Stain. And I did in my predictions video. I think I even pointed out that Coffee Stain Studios is the studio that did Goat Simulator. I think I even did point that out at one point. Give it to me once you win. Give it to me once you win. You idiot. Yeah, I'm not making it. So yeah, it starts off looking like Dead Island, but then we get the logo Coffee Stain, and then yeah, the goats come in, and it's just, hey, guess what? Goat Simulator 3. I liked Goat Simulator. Goat Simulator is one of those games where it's they intentionally left bugs in because it makes the game funnier. I had fun with it. It's definitely one of those things that I'd love to play again, because I probably haven't played it in 10 years. There used to be a running joke on my channel, that whenever I wanted to try out something new, I would use Goat Simulator. The first thing I ever streamed was Goat Simulator, right? It was jokes like that. So yeah, and I think it's on Game Pass, so I should give Goat Simulator another try. It might be fun. But they announced Goat Simulator 3. There is no Goat Simulator 2. That's part of the joke, is that Goat Simulator 2 doesn't exist. They just skipped straight to the third one, which I think is kind of fun, right? It's kind of, again, Goat Simulator has a very specific sense of humor that you're either going to love or you're going to hate. I think it's fine. I think it can be funny. Next up, Marvel Midnight Suns. Oh, okay, Goat Simulator. I just will say the whole using Dead Island 2 trailer, great idea, right? That's some really great stuff right there. But yeah, that's why I kept talking about it, because I think that is honestly more interesting than I think the announcement of Goat Simulator itself. Just them making fun of Dead Island. It would have been like a company 10 years ago using Duke Nukem Forever as a joke, right? Right? It would have been the same thing. God, supposedly they're making a Duke Nukem movie or TV show. That's a terrible fucking idea. Yeah, Marvel Midnight Suns, it looks pretty good. They showed off Spider-Man. I'm sure they showed... The big thing was Spider-Man. But, there's a few other characters. Nico Minori, Scarlet Witch, other people. I don't think... Even though it's made by the XCOM developers, so you would assume it would be in the style of XCOM. Supposedly it isn't. Supposedly it's more of a... what was it? It wasn't hack and slash. It's not... I don't think it's a spectacle fighter. I don't remember what it is. But it's not real time or turn-based combat, right? Turn-based strategy. Not turn-based. Is it just called turn-based combat? It's not real time. Real time strategy is something else, right? Or is it real RTS? No, I don't think it's. I think it's just turn-based combat. whatever, right? I would expect it to be like the idea of a Marvel XCOM game actually sounds like a pretty good idea, but supposedly that's not what this is. So that's interesting, but I don't know. I want it to be good. I want this to be good. Next up, Cuphead. So, right, the Cuphead DLC has been announced. They showed off one of the new bosses, which is, I mean, I'm sure we'd seen him at some point before, but he's like he's like an ice guy, and you fight him as like a giant snowman fridge, then you fight him again as like a snowflake. It looks really good. It looks like Cuphead. They did announce, I think, yesterday, that the Cuphead DLC has officially gone gold. Which, along with announcing that it's gone gold, they announced the price point, $8. Holy shit, I feel like I'm ripping them off at that price. Right, I think the original Cuphead was only like $25. But at $8, that is so cheap. Again, and that just shows you the power of indie games, man. Like, sometimes, like, it just feels like you're ripping them off. But it's so much more content than any big AAA game. So much high-quality content. Holy shit. God, this is why I love indie games. But yeah, Cuphead DLC looks fantastic. I replayed Cuphead earlier this year. I loved it. I had such a better experience on my second go-around than I did my first. Right? I streamed my first playthrough of Cuphead. I didn't even beat the game. It was a nightmare. I mean, I had fun. I just didn't have that much fun. But on my second playthrough, I enjoyed the crap out of it. So if you played Cuphead back in the day and hated it, give it another chance. Assuming you've gotten better at games, you might actually enjoy it. Next up was Neon White. So the thing I got to talk about with this is, so there was a rumor, like the day before Summer Games Fest, that was like, hey, guess what? Neon White is coming out June 16th. And the rumor also claimed that it was going to be I guess shadow drop is the word, same day release alongside a Nintendo Direct. Right, that the Nintendo Direct was happening on the 16th, and they were using Neon White to confirm it. But the developer of Neon White came out and was like, no, we know someone leaked that release date. We know who did it. It was like a trusted partner of the studio. Because again, I think I even mentioned this during my Summer Games Fest reaction. The developer of Neon White is on TikTok. He makes videos on TikTok updating his development progress. So yeah, during that he came out and was like, yeah, here's what happened. I don't think in the TikTok he mentioned the Nintendo Direct rumor. But yeah, we now know that is completely false. That the same person who was, clout chasing by revealing the leak date early was also clout chasing with the Nintendo Direct thing. Because instead it was shown off at Summer Games Fest. I still think Neon White looks pretty good. It's a lot of a game, but I still think it looks good. So I'm interested in that. And then finally, again, so after Neon White there was like another like half hour of shit I did not care about. I mean, this was the type of show that had something for everybody. And I know there's the saying like, oh, when you try to appeal to everybody, you appeal to nobody. And maybe that's true, but I also think that's kind of bullshit. Because again, I got some stuff in here. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-ish things that I am interested in. Out of like probably like 30 announcements, 8 isn't too bad. It might have even been more than 30. Right? Out of all, I mean, again, there were like 7 space games. So out of like all those announcements, walking away with 8 that I'm interested in, that's not bad at all. I've definitely had other showcases that I've walked away with a lot less. That have probably shown less games, to be fair. So yeah. And then they ended on The Last of Us. Again, I still don't think The Last of Us needed a remake. There are plenty of other games that really could have used a remake before The Last of Us. Sly Cooper. But yeah, no. I don't think The Last of Us needed a remake. I know, again, there are technically some games that have had less time between their official release and their remake, right? Even probably, like, literally, I think the first generation of Pokemon and Fire Red and Leaf Green was like less than 10 years. But admittedly, that had a reason to exist, because there was no way to transfer. Is there like two of this guy? Do you guys see? Is that just the reflection? The reflection makes it look. Wow, that's really weird how they do the reflection. But yeah, there are, like, Pokemon had its reason to exist, because there were no way to get Gen 1 and Gen 2 Pokemon up to Gen 3. This, however, you can still play The Last of Us Remake on PS5. Right, the PS4 version? There's nothing stopping you. So yeah, this did not have a reason to exist. But it's happening anyways. I know a lot of people have been saying, like, oh, they just took The Last of Us and sucked all the soul out of it. Sucked all, like, the facial expressions out. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I kind of see where they're coming from. But I just don't think this needed to exist. I probably won't pick it up when it comes out in, September. And yeah, it does. On one hand, it does suck that it leaked, but on the other hand, nobody is technically... even though this was PlayStation's fault, like, nobody is at right for holding the game industry secrets. Technically. I don't know. It's fucking complicated. Because, again, I don't feel bad for the corporations. I feel bad for the people on the ground who have been abused by Naughty Dog, who are just trying to make a good game, you know? I feel bad for those people. Because, yeah, Naughty Dog is, hey, guess what, also an abusive studio. They have crunched their employees, allegedly. Not the best working conditions. Okay, this should take us into the finale. But yeah, so Summer Games Fest tried to appeal to everybody, maybe appeal to nobody. I don't think it was the worst showcase I've ever seen. Far from it, actually. I just think it did a lot, and a lot of it I didn't care about. But there were a few things I'm interested in. I hope the Microsoft showcase tomorrow was better. Right? It's covering a lot. It's a lot more specific. Again, I expect a full blowout for Starfield. Maybe a mention of Redfall. Hopefully some other things. And I'll get to last minute predictions in a little bit. Because I do have a few. But yeah, I just think it's complicated. But yeah, Summer Games Fest. Again, I saw somebody on my For You page on TikTok. Not somebody I follow, definitely. Who was disappointed by the Summer Games Fest. And was like, you know what? Maybe we should bring back E3. I think that is the exact wrong approach. If you watched the Summer Games Fest and were disappointed by it, and your reaction was to bring back E3, no, that is not the lesson that should be learned from this. Far from it, as a matter of fact. Right, that is the exact wrong lesson. That is the exact wrong takeaway to get from this showcase. It really is. Oh, we could have stayed on that a little longer. Yeah, no, we definitely don't need E3 again. Okay, I'm gonna focus up here. We're nearing the end. We're almost out of platform. Maybe this was the wrong place to go. Maybe not. Oh, boom, that's a second game won tonight. I'm not bad at Fall... Okay, I'm not great, but I'm not bad at Fall Guys. Play it enough times and you eventually get good. Gotta have my commemorative screen. I really should... I know in the settings you can change it where you just press the button and it takes the screenshot. Like how the Nintendo Switch works. I really need to do that. Yeah, I've got... God, it's gonna suck to lose all 100. I really am worried about the new Fall Guys stuff. Right? That does have me concerned. How they're gonna change things. I mean, I've won 176 crowns. And I don't, again, they said they gave me 10 crowns. I'm not even sure if they did. Like that, again, I think, where did they say that? Everyone has been given... See, I can't even remember if they did. Like, I can't remember if I had a... I think they did. I think I only had like 111 last time. I kind of don't remember. Again, that showcase a few weeks ago with the hide and seek was crazy. I'm gonna go get some more. We still have plenty of stuff to talk about tonight. Oh my god. And I haven't even gotten to She-Ra, because we didn't even talk about She-Ra last week. Ugh, and I've got plenty to say. And I'm going to try to get to that tonight, in the next hour. Because, yeah, we're about an hour in. So, I'm gonna be right back. I'm just gonna go get some more water real quick. And, yeah, we'll be right back. And we will, we'll continue with Fall Guys. So, yeah, just gonna go get some water. Alright, well, let's continue onwards. Next up, we have the Devolver Countdown to Marketing Countdown. So every year, Devolver puts on their... For the past, 5 years, they've put on their own little, E3 style showcase. That the more time that goes on, the more it becomes like an E3 showcase, honestly. But, so this year, their whole point was that, people don't care about the actual conference anymore. All they care about is the countdown, right? It's very close to the idea that I think Devolver has mentioned before, that people give more of a shit about the hype than they do the actual games, right? And yeah, no, I think they've mentioned that before, and I do believe they're kind of right. Because that's the feeling every time a Nintendo Direct is announced, where I'm like, people give more of a shit about the hype than they do the actual games, and I still stand by that. So yeah, this year they brought... So in previous Devolver showcases, they had a special guest, Suda51, developer of No More Heroes. And this year they brought out Mecha Suda51. They had this giant mecha robot, and it just had a screen with Suda51 on it. And, he was the special guest host, and he was the one doing the countdown. It still makes me laugh. I think it was maybe it was either last year or 2 years ago, when we got our first ever gameplay footage of No More Heroes 3, was in the credits of one of these Devolver showcases. I do definitely think this is, of the Devolver showcases, I do think this is the weakest one we've ever had. I don't think it's bad though, but I do definitely think this is the weakest. It definitely had the least... Right, I think previous years have just had stronger premises. The original trilogy was very good, right? The Linda, with the villain Linda, who was symbolic of everything evil in the games industry, who I miss. She was such a good villain. But now you have the boss, like the head of Devolver, who is like this villain who's, you know, just like pushing all these like shitty practices. But last year, the NFT thing was so fucking good. The non-fuckable tape. So yeah, they didn't have anything as strong as that this year. And that... So yeah, the actual showcase, like, they end up... What happens in the actual showcase, I recommend watching it. But I will tell you to go, as what happens is they have Mecha Suda 51, and as a result of them, like, experimenting with the games industry, they end up causing the video game singularity, which is, you know how Microsoft has been buying up all these studios. They're basically making fun of that. That, like, oh, under the video game singularity, all video games will be coalesced under one studio. Right, so, like, during it, they mentioned how Microsoft buys Bethesda again, just because they can. And, right, all these, like, weird studios are, like, fusing together. And, right, you get, what was it? It was Animal Crossing... Tom Clancy's Animal Crossing, that was the joke. Right, so you're getting, like, all these weird, like, fusion games under the video game singularity. And it goes crazy near the end. Definitely not as crazy as, again, some of the previous shows where, like, people's arms got ripped off, but, yeah. And then once they cause the video game singularity, you get this whole sequence about, like, Suda51, like, making wishes. And I can't tell if it's a reference to Lord of the Rings or the Never-Ending Story, or maybe it's just completely made up. They make a joke at the end about how this is entirely based off of Suda51's book. Which, does Suda51 have a book? If Suda51 had a book, I would probably read that. Yeah, that sounds very entertaining. Suda51 is a fascinating man, right? Again, he made No More Heroes. He's done some interesting stuff. He's one of those auteurs in the gaming industry, you know, like Hideo Kojima, like Sakurai. One of those names that people just know, even though he's definitely not as known as those previous two. But yeah, and yeah, the actual games shown off during it. Oh, and also, they make a point that, like, the reason they don't want the video game singularity to happen is because then all studios would be run by Devolver Digital, and they don't know how to run shit. But I do want to say, well, yes, it would be a monopoly. Having Devolver Digital run all the studios would be better than what we currently have. As far as I know, Devolver isn't a shitty corporate, right? They don't abuse their employees and actively drive their employees towards suicide, like some of those other companies do. Right? I haven't heard any allegations of, sexually, mentally, and physically abusing employees from Devolver. So maybe they wouldn't be that bad in comparison. But yeah, so the trailers we got, Cult of the Lamb. Again, this game looks amazing. I think it was in the Indie World Showcase a few weeks ago. It was revealed at Devolver Showcase last year. And I think Fall Guys was revealed at the first ever Devolver Showcase a few years back. Yeah, I think so. That sounds right in my head. Maybe it was the second, but I think it was the first. But yeah, no. Cult of the Lamb still looks very good, and it has a release date of August 11th, right around the corner. I'm so excited for this. Is huge, right? This game is going to be great, hopefully. Next up, Angerfoot. It's made by the developers of General Jousting, and it is a Doom-like game. So it's like Doom mixed with like Hotline Miami. And when I say Doom, I mean the original 1993 Doom. I think it was 1993. Not like 2016 Doom. It's like the original, right? It's a lot... So it's not... I don't know. It looks decent. I was never that big of a fan of Hotline Miami, I'll admit. But no, I think this looks decent. I probably won't pick it up, but... yeah, I don't think it looks that bad. And yeah, that's just what it reminds me of. Card Shark. Card Shark was also revealed at one of these Devolver showcases. I think it came out last week. So yeah, if you're interested in Card Shark, it's a game all about like cheating at cards. and you have to like you use like tells to like help out like your teammates cheat at cards. It seems pretty good. I've heard decent things about it. Looks like it can be tricky. Then probably the highlight of Summer Games Fest this year. The best game we have seen so far was in the Devolver showcase, and it's called The Plucky Squire. This is the one trailer that, yeah, you should go look up. This game looks just like... So the game starts off, it's a Zelda-like, and you're in like a storybook, and you're adventuring around in the storybook, you know, solving puzzles and whatnot. And already, I think the game looks great, right? As you're like, the storybook art style looks fantastic. And then the character jumps out of the storybook and enters the real world in a style not dissimilar from the Link's Awakening remake on Switch. But you know, it's real. Instead of being in like a fantasy, you're in the real world. And it just looks amazing from there. I do think this is the best game we've seen so far. Because, you know, The Last of Us, nope, it's a remake, and it's The Last of Us. I think this looks better. I think this is the best thing we have seen so far. Of course, we don't have a release date or anything, but it looks real. I'm super into this. The Plucky Squire. I think this is the highlight of the conference so far. Easy. Just go watch the showcase itself. The Devolver showcases are always great, but definitely go watch this. Definitely go watch the trailer for the Plucky Squire. Yeah, no, this is huge. This one's huge. Next up, we got, Skate Story. So Skate Story, based on the trailer, I would describe it as skateboarding Sayonara Wild Hearts. I really like Sayonara Wild Hearts. I'm not a rhythm game fan. Like, I've literally only played, like, 3 rhythm games in my life. One of them is Sayonara. Okay, I've played more than that, but I've only liked 3 rhythm games. One of them is Sayonara Wild Hearts. And yeah, this looks like Sayonara Wild Hearts, but with skateboards. At least that's the comparison, because Sayonara Wild Hearts has motorbikes, if I remember. Yeah, no, that's... Sayonara Wild Hearts is motorbikes. But yes, Skate Story, it just looks... It's visually, it's a lot. There's a lot going on in it. But I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I don't know if it'll be as gay as Sayonara Wild Hearts. Because, I love it. God, I love Sayonara Wild Hearts. Go play that one if you've never played it. But yeah, no, this looks pretty good. And then, yeah, they do the whole, like I said, they do the whole thing with the video game singularity. It gets really weird, but it's a Devolver showcase, you know? It's what I want. It was a very solid showcase. Right? All things around, really, again, Devolver has, at first, the first time Devolver showcase happened, it was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then the second time, it was like, oh, they'll probably screw it up this time, but hey, it was fun while it lasted. And then it was good, then the third one was really good, and a satisfying end to the trilogy. And then they just kept making them anyways. And they've earned, right, at first it was like, oh, when's the ball gonna drop? When's this gonna turn bad? And then it never did. So yeah, Devolver showcases are the highlight of the E3 Summer Games Fest every year. And this one did not disappoint. I definitely do think it's the weakest one so far. But weakest does not mean bad. Not at all. Definitely more entertaining than Summer Games Fest. That's for sure. And the games were really good. Again, the games looked very good. All of the games, even Skate Story to a lesser degree, all the games in this showcase I'm interested in. Right? I don't think there was like in previous years you had like, I know people like Track to Yomi. At least I think they did, because that finally released a few weeks ago. But right, that wasn't my style of game. But this year, everything in the showcase, I was like, yeah, I might play that. Doesn't mean I will, but I might. Okay, I'm gonna focus on this. And then we'll go into last-minute E3 predictions, because I have a few. One I forgot to talk about last week. I'm really hoping this bear goes. Because if the bear's gone, that makes me less worried about him grabbing me. I didn't know if it was coming too quick. I just didn't know where it was. And yeah, I have both done and seen the thing where people jump off and then jump back on the platform, and it has worked. It's very. I've also seen people grab onto the sides of the platform before and like pull themselves up. Yeah, no, I definitely should have gone forwards instead of going back. I guess I'm rooting for the bear now. Yeah. That's a PC player. No. Maybe it is a PlayStation. I actually don't know. I don't know. Did they ever fix names on PC? I kind of don't remember. I don't know. I didn't even realize we had 1, 2, 3 crowns. That's kind of neat. Okay, so next up, we have some last-minute E3 predictions. I'll start off with the one I forgot. Like, if you saw last week's stream, I kind of, like, my brain started to, like, break near the end, because last week we went for 4 hours, which is entirely Minecraft, right? That's just me addicted to Minecraft, and we'll talk about that, because the new update came out, and I've been playing it. But, yeah, my brain started to break. So, the one thing I just completely forgot to mention that I had written down was, Splatoon 3. I do think at the Nintendo Direct, we are going to see Splatoon 3. My prediction is, well, one, I think we're going to get a July, like a late July Splatoon Direct that will go full into detail on everything. It will reveal the August test fire, full game's release date, but I think we need something big from Summer Games Fest Splatoon 3 reveal. And my guess is still a Battle Royale mode. Again, right now, a lot of people's problems with Splatoon 3 is that the game doesn't justify its existence. Right now, it just seems like Splatoon 2, or... Well, it seems... Honestly, it seems a lot more like Splatoon 2, but honestly, gameplay-wise, it seems to be more inspired by the first Splatoon, right? A lot of how the game plays seems to be inspired by the first Splatoon, right? Especially with, like, the special weapons and whatnot. I know it's a little bit more complicated than that, obviously. And we have been getting breakdowns of Splatoon 3 on Twitter. Like, just the other day, they revealed, what, the Octolings in the, story mode are gonna look like. Which, by the way, for the story mode, it's called the Return of the Mammalians. I'm just gonna call it... I know I'm not the first one to say this. It's mice. The Return of the Mammals. The mammals are mice. Like, if you look at the fuzzy Octarians, their toes are like mice. So yeah, that's obviously that's what they mean by Return of the Mammals. The mammals are mice. And again, part of me is like, I definitely think the Octo expansion in Splatoon was better than the story mode. Right? The Octo expansion was actually so much better. I've been watching Chucker Conroy's series on Splatoon 2, And I'm not caught up. I'm like 2 episodes behind. But yeah, even still, just re-watching him do the story mode again, I'm like, oh my god, the Octo expansion is so much better. Because it really was. And I'm worried that the story mode for the new Splatoon is just going to be the... Because that was the story... The story mode for Splatoon 2 was basically the story mode for Splatoon 1 with a few, like, new weapons and whatnot. It was basically the same thing. Whereas the Octo expansion was something completely different. And that's what I want from the story mode from Splatoon 3. And it has worried me so far that they're just reusing the Octarians again. If the return of the mammalians is these mice, let the enemies be like these mutated mice. Do something new. I don't know. It's kind of disappointing. But yeah, we see these... We got a preview of these new Octarians. Deadass. Look it up. But, yeah, so that's the thing. I don't think we're going to see any of that, though. We know Salmon Run is back. That was a previous trailer. We know Turf War and all that. It'd be nice to see a new mode. That would be cool to see. A new ranked mode, I mean. There was... So Splatoon 2 only got a single new ranked mode, Clan Blitz, which is the weakest rank mode, I should say. Out of the 4 ranked modes, Clan Blitz is the weakest. But there was, in the code, a bowling ranked mode. That part of the bowling thing did make its way into the Octo expansion. So I guess it would actually be kind of cool to see the bowling ranked mode make it into the new game, like fully fleshed out. Plus I'd want one other, but I don't think that's what they're going to reveal at E3. That could all be Splatoon Direct stuff. We know that every weapon is going to be available at launch. So right when Splatoon 2 launched, weapons like the Brella, while available in the story mode, were not available on online play for like a few weeks after the game's release. Nope, they've already confirmed that every weapon that's in Splatoon 2 at launch will be in Splatoon 3 at launch. So, right, there's no, like, waiting for, like, weapon subclasses to unlock, which is 1000% the right move. Right, that's... Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's so much better. But, yeah. The thing, though, that I do expect, that I have been predicting this entire time, that in my opinion justifies Splatoon's 3 existence, is a Battle Royale mode. Right? I know Nintendo is stuck in the year 1998, as they have been for a while now. Well, okay, they used to be stuck in the year 1992, but eventually they learned what the internet was. Still not as... Their online service still isn't as good as Xbox Live on the original Xbox, but they'll get there one day. Fuck, man. But, Splatoon 3, my guess is a Battle Royale mode. They reveal it. And I don't think it's going to be a normal Battle Royale mode. My guess is it's going to be a team Battle Royale mode called Mega Turf Wars, where it's a giant map and 2 teams of 50 players paint this giant map. Right? So you're painting this giant map, and right, you start off with the big map, and then right, you drop off the battle bus or whatever, and then the circle slowly shrinks in to, right, stop you from covering up areas until you eventually get down to, like, the final size. And then it's whichever team covered the most area wins. Right? There's gonna be... Right, that's my guess. It's gonna be Mega Turf War. It's gonna be the Battle Royale mode. Because Splatoon doesn't do, like, the traditional, like, Call of Duty kills matter. I mean, they still show kills and assists, but they don't... In Splatoon, kills and assists don't really matter. What matters is inking the turf. So, yeah, my guess is going to be the Battle Royale mode, Mega Turf War. Maybe they'll even add in some new sort of things to this Mega Turf War. But it's going to be something along those lines. Yeah, it's going to be, yeah, again, Mega Turf War. That's my guess. I think that makes the most sense. Where'd it go? Oh, someone's AFK. But yeah, so that's my prediction at the moment. Mega Turf War. We'll see if that's correct. I also do think it would make sense, because I'm going to guess the Squid Sisters are not going to be the new show host again. Even though this new game seems to be taking a lot of influence from the first Splatoon, and I'm sure, right, we know Callie and Marie are going to return. I think they have confirmed that Pearl and Marina are going to return. I'm going to guess that, yeah, I'm going to guess that we're going to get new radio hosts. Because we know we have Little Buddy, who is a Salmonid. And maybe they will do maybe the story mode will, maybe we'll get, like, another, like, Octo Expansion DLC called Save Our Salmons. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll find out that Mr. Grizz is evil. But yeah, I could also see us, maybe they'll save that, because I think the original Splatoon 2 Direct, that's how that one ended, so they might save it for that. But I could also see us getting new radio hosts again. Again, I think all of the Splatoon, Callie and Maria are great, Pearl and Marina are also great, so I'd be down for whatever new ones they take us with, right? I just really don't want the Octarian stuff. I don't want the twist to be like, hey, guess what, DJ Octavio, even though the mice are the villains, surprise, surprise, DJ Octavio is the final boss again. I'm gonna be fucking pissed if that happens. I think it would be a lot better if they made him the first boss. Just get him out of the way immediately. Because, God, the more they recycle from Splatoon 2, the worse it is. Again, even though I definitely, I'm one of those people who agrees the game has not justified its existence, I'm still gonna pick it up. I'm terrible. Next up, I have a few Xbox things. Achievements, so this happened a while ago where we got achievements for GoldenEye on Xbox, and it happened again. So it looks like there is a good chance that we might get the shadow drop of GoldenEye. So that's completely possible that, yeah, in the coming days, or tomorrow, they will reveal that, hey, guess what? Maybe it's the GoldenEye remake that leaked a while ago. Maybe it's a brand new GoldenEye remake. Somehow or another, we're probably going to get a new GoldenEye. It might come to both Xbox and Switch. Again, when the original GoldenEye remake happened, when the canceled GoldenEye remake happened, they had asked Nintendo. Nintendo said yes. Then they realized they had asked the wrong person. So when they asked the right person, they told them no. Because, again, Nintendo and Microsoft were bitter enemies. But the console wars are over now. So, because Nintendo, guess what? Surprise, surprise, Nintendo and Microsoft both lost the console wars. Nintendo may have won the bit wars, but they lost, the Wii U lost the console wars. I mean, technically the console war's still going. It's just a little bit more complicated now, and it's not called the console wars anymore. Like how the bit wars, right? The bit wars ended with Sega canceling, with the death of the Dreamcast, and Sega publishing games on GameCube. Bit wars, console wars. Yeah, it's complicated. The whole industry's a fucking mess. But yeah, so it looks like with Nintendo and Xbox and Microsoft being on good terms, it looks like the GoldenEye remake will probably finally happen. There have also been rumors, specifically today, about something Banjo-Kazooie related. Will that be Banjo-Kazooie, a remake of Banjo-Kazooie in the style of the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, in the Spyro Reignited trilogy? Please, please let it be the case. I want it to be true. I've actually been considering downloading Banjo-Kazooie off of Game Pass. Right, the 360 version. But yeah, I want this rumor to be true. I want to get a Again, Banjo-Kazooie is prime real estate to be given the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy treatment. It'd be perfect for it. It'd be free money at this point, especially with Banjo in Smash. He's now a more recognizable name than ever. You know, I think the perfect time was like a year or two ago. But no, now they definitely need to capitalize on it. And yeah, full Banjo-Kazooie thing. Yep, I hope this is true. Again, we don't know if that's going to be it. It could be it could be Banjo 3 for all we know. It could be a remake of Nuts and Bolts. Literally, we don't know. We just know there's a rumor going around that something Banjo-Kazooie related has happened. So it wouldn't surprise me. And getting that on, or even if it's, and even also, it would make, I think Banjo-Kazooie is on N64 Online, getting Banjo-Tooie on there, putting this if they do a Banjo-Kazooie remake, putting that on Switch would also make sense. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of potential for Microsoft-Nintendo collaboration. And I hope they keep going with it. Because, again, everything that happened with Smash Bros. Was so great. Steve in Minecraft, Banjo-Kazooie, it all worked out so well. Master Chief Collection on Switch, also makes perfect sense to me. I don't think that wouldn't happen at the Xbox conference tomorrow, but I think Master Chief Collection on Switch would be a great benefit for Microsoft. It'd just be cool. Anything else? I think I have one more. Oh yeah, Playdead. Playdead Studios, who did Inside and Limbo? Yeah. They've been talking about doing another game. In specific, now there were two people in charge of Playdead. In the studio, they actually broke up. So one guy is doing one game, and the other guy who I think left the company. I think the guy at Playdead has been working at the game, and we haven't even got a trailer for it yet. But the other guy is working on a game called, I think, Somerville? I think it's called Somerville. Yeah, he started a new studio, and yeah. Somerville is an upcoming video game and the debut title of the indie studio Jump Ship. Studio's co-founder Dino Petit previously co-founded Playdead and worked on Limbo and Inside. So they're literally called Jump Ship because they jump ship from Playdead Studios. Holy shit. But that was shown, the game Somerville is published by Xbox Game Studios, and it does have a release date of this year. So I can almost guarantee you we're going to get that tomorrow. And if we also get Playdead's new game as well, that wouldn't surprise me. Right? Because we also might not, because to be fair, I expected the Dead Space remake at Summer Games Fest, but instead we got more of the Callisto Protocol, which is literally made by the same people who made Dead Space. And literally the Callisto Protocol comes out, and then a month later the Dead Space remake comes out, so it's kind of a mess. But yeah. So I definitely think we're getting Somerville, but I could also see us getting Playdead's new game. I think that's also totally possible. And yeah, I think that's all my last minute predictions. Again, we don't know if a Nintendo Direct is happening. I know I said no Metroid Prime 4. Anything else? Some DLC, I'm sure. Everybody's 1-2 Switch is definitely going to be there. I'm not going to guarantee it, but I'm like 95% sure. If the game is as far in development as, Imran Khan says, then yeah, I definitely think it's going to happen. Totally. And yeah, it's going to be at the Nintendo Direct. Just what way? And yeah, I guess that takes us to WIBE. Yeah, let's just jump ship now to WIBE. So, what have I been playing? So, I've been addicted to Minecraft. I've actually been playing Java Edition. As you know, right, every previous stream we've done of Minecraft has been on the Bedrock Edition, specifically the Switch version. And we will stream the Switch Bedrock Edition again soonish. I'll get back to it, because I do want to, because we have 4 more achievements, which, of the achievements, the Allay one, the hard part's finding the Allay. The actual achievement seems pretty easy. The, sneak past the Skull Shrieker, easy. Kill a mob next to a Skull Catalyst, easy. Those two are stupid easy. We just gotta find the Ancient City. But the last one, which is acquire all 3 frog lights, which I knew was gonna be an achievement. That one's gonna be a pain in the ass. That one's gonna suck. The other 3 achievements, though, I think that's I think those seem a lot easier. Alright. Which, I mean, to be fair, that's how the Caves and Cliffs Update Part 2 was. The Trade at the Top of the World and the Fall from the Top to the Bottom were both easy achievements. They were just time-consuming. And technically the record one was also very easy. The hardest part was getting the record. Again, it was only the Nether one was the hard one. And guess what? The Fog Lamp is a Nether achievement, so that's the hard one. Yeah. What was I... E3 prediction real quick. I didn't mention Fall Guys, but it would not surprise me at all. I know Nintendo is very picky with their IP, but if at the Nintendo Direct Showcase, because I was expecting something from Fall Guys during Summer Games Fest, and there technically was a trailer with like Valkyrie and whatnot, but who cares? Who fucking cares about that? And there was one other trailer as well during an Epic Games showcase like 2 days ago that I did not watch, and I did not see a single person talk about. But I wonder if we're gonna get Nintendo crossover into Fall Guys, because I just saw the Ratchet and Clank, and I was like, yeah, no, there's all these PlayStation characters in Fall Guys, and like it makes sense. Again, PlayStation had a year plus exclusivity. I wonder if we're going to get some Master Chief. I don't think they'd give them Mario, but I could see them giving some smaller scale Nintendo characters. Like, it would be really funny if they put Chibi Robo in Fall Guys. Like, that's the kind of shit I would expect. Captain Falcon would also be a great addition. Star Fox, right? I wonder if that's going to happen. I could see that happening at a Nintendo showcase. If not this year, maybe next year. Or maybe in like a September Direct. Right? I could definitely see that. Because Nintendo has fully put their support behind Fall Guys. So, I haven't mentioned that up to this point, but I think that's totally possible. Okay, so back to Minecraft. That was just a train of thought thing that I wanted to point out real quick. I've been playing on a Realm, and I've been playing Java Edition. Sadly, I cannot stream PC games. My computer cannot both play and stream PC at the same time. At least I don't think it can. I've never actually tried. Maybe I should try one of these days. Again, my PC is very old. It's not even a PC. So, yeah, it's very old. So I don't think it can. But so I can't show off the world. But I built a farm, so I've got tons of wheat, potatoes, carrots, melons, whatnot growing. I've got tons of animals, chickens, no pigs. I don't have any pigs because I'm basically on an island all by myself. I've got my own little island. It's way bigger than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, I've got my island. I built a farmhouse. I built a barn. I was going to build a windmill, but I couldn't find a design I liked that fit the aesthetic I was going for. But instead, I'm planning on building a chicken statue. I have a cactus. I did, however, break my simple farmer aesthetic. And I built a giant cactus farm that I've been using to grind experience. Because one of the reasons why so I joined a Realm, and everybody else on the Realm, part of the reason they're playing on Java Edition is so they can do stuff like gold farms, iron farms, villager farms, stuff that you can't do on Bedrock Edition. Hey, look, there's Sonic. See, Sonic and Fall Guys. But yeah, that's part of the reason why they're doing Java Edition. And yeah, so everyone's doing these crazy farms, and meanwhile I'm just Farmer Jeff, just being my simple farmer. I sell chickens and chicken-related accessories. I'm playing it just like I would Bedrock Edition, even though I do have some plans to use some of that Java stuff, right? I do plan on making some big TNT contraptions, but that comes later. Okay, it's actually not that big of a TNT contraption. But yeah, and then so I'm on this island, and I'm okay, I'm gonna go and mining in the caves. All the caves around me are completely flooded, right? As of the 1 Caves and Cliffs update, one of the things that can happen is that caves can be flooded, right? Caves all have these localized water levels. Every cave around me is completely flooded. So if I want to do any mining, I need to, it's Java Edition so I can carry doors, but I need water breathing potions. I need a turtle helmet, right? I can't just go caving. I have to, take the water into account, and it's a fucking nightmare, man. But yeah, I've been addicted to it the past few days. I think we started the Realm on Wednesday, and I've just been playing it basically. I didn't play it today actually, but Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I've probably put another 20 hours into it. I've been so fucking addicted to Minecraft again. And it is Java Edition, which I have not played Java Edition since 2015, because my Minecraft account got hacked in 2015, And not only was I not able to recover it, but it was just straight up deleted. It's gone forever, right? Like, and there was no way for me to get it back. It was just gone forever, which really pissed me off. So yeah, my Minecraft account was gone, so I ended up creating a new one. And then, I rebought Minecraft for the 10-year... The only time Minecraft Java Edition has ever gone on sale was for Minecraft's 10-year anniversary, as far as I know. Admittedly, I've never needed to buy it again since then, but I had the original game, right, Java Edition. It went on sale for the 10-year anniversary of Minecraft. Because I originally bought the game in, like, beta 1.5. And yeah, that account was gone in, like, 2015. And yeah, I think, what was it, was it 2019? When it went on sale, so I picked it up again, after playing it on Switch for, like, years. And yeah, and I just bought it again, and I, like, installed the Java launcher, and at some point I, like, synced it to my Microsoft account. But I hadn't played Minecraft Java Edition in years, because I just go to Bedrock. Because one of the things that sucks is that because my computer kind of sucks, to get the game running good, I have to use a render distance of 2 chunks. At least on Java Edition, or at least on Bedrock, I can use the full scope of the render distance. But yeah, I'll have to, like, take some screenshots or something to show off on stream at some point. But yeah, I've just been having a blast playing Minecraft. It's been so much fun. Gosh, Minecraft, again, it goes in phases. You play it for a little, like, whenever the new update comes out, you play it for, like, 2 weeks, and then you don't think about it for, like, 6 months, then you play it again for, like, 2 weeks, and you just get addicted all over again, and then you don't think about it for a while. And the only new stuff I've messed around with is the mangrove swamp. Because I needed, because for my barn, I wanted, I could have used, like, in a previous barn I made that I think I showed off at some point on stream. I used, concrete, but for this barn, I was like, I'm gonna use the mangrove wood. So I used the mangrove wood for this barn, and that worked a whole lot better. So I've been using the mangrove wood. God damn. I was trying to cut that guy off. But yeah, so I used the mangrove wood, so I've come across some frogs, really haven't done anything with them. I had a goat horn, and then I fucking died at spawn. Like, I went to go meet up with some people at spawn. I fucking died, and both of us died. So when I got back to spawn, all our stuff had despawned. I was so annoyed. So I lost my goat horn. But yeah, so I gotta go get it. Because I found one in a pillager outpost. And yeah, it's gone, so yeah, that's lost. But yeah, and then I've seen some frogs. I haven't done anything with the frogs. I just have them. Or I've just seen them. And then I haven't found an ancient city yet. I haven't even found a skulk biome. I'm sure they exist somewheres in the world. Yeah, I'm gonna eventually have to go to an ancient city because I want to mess around with the warden and whatnot. But yeah, so far I haven't even touched that stuff. Ah, crap. Yeah, we got screwed over there. Yeah, so I haven't even seen the deep dark biome stuff yet. We know I'm sure there's gonna be another Minecon soon that will announce all sorts of new stuff, but yeah, that happens when it happens. But yeah, I'm just enjoying Minecraft. Who liked Minecraft? That's a Sky Does Minecraft reference, isn't it? God, fuck. Oh, you know what I will say though? So while I've been playing Minecraft, while I've been just doing this farming and whatnot, I've had random videos on in the background, which is like one of them was I'll talk about that later actually. But there was this video. So Mr. Beast put out a video on Wednesday or Thursday. That was like, he put like 100 players, or maybe it was even like 1,000, on like these string of islands, and then had like players command them, and like had them build up civilizations and then go to war. I fucking hated that. God, Mr. Beast's editing in that video is fucking terrible. I'm sure for like a 10-year-old kid, it works because it's very high energy. But for someone like me, I couldn't fucking stand that video. Oh my god. The way that thing was edited. Atrocious. But from that video, I ended up, I had it playing in the background, and, you know, I was kind of watching it. But I ended up going to a channel called Ish. Just ISH. And they locked 1,000 players in, like, a prison. Made 100 players, like, guards, made a player the warden, and then just played it out over a few days. And I'm convinced that, while it probably isn't 100% scripted, I am convinced that there is some, he's definitely, watching his, 3 other Minecraft videos, the fact that there are, these key players who keep showing up over and over again makes me think that at least, he's talking to, these specific players and, guiding them to do certain things. But, I don't think it's 100% scripted. But even if it was, this video of, 1,000 people in a Minecraft prison, so fucking entertaining. So well edited. Right? It's such good drama. I was so entertained. This is maybe the most entertaining Minecraft video I have seen in years. So yeah, even though definitely watching it, I'm like, some of this has to be scripted. Oh my god, it was so... there's 3 of them. There's that one. There's he traps a few hundred players on a single island. And then he did this 4-island thing. And you keep having recurring players like Soliv, Woody something. There's a bunch of them. That again makes me... I know it's... Oh, he's using the same groups. But definitely, the drama is way too good. Right? And I know that's what some people say about Dreams Manhunts. That the drama in Dreams Manhunts are way too good that he must be scripting them. I don't think Dreams Manhunts are scripted. I mean, they are to an... if he has a bad run, they just delete the video and start again. Right? But I don't think Dreams Manhunts are scripted. But Dream just has a really good editor who makes him look very good. But yeah, no, these videos were... There's only 3 of them. But they are so entertaining, man. I definitely recommend checking them out. Because, yeah, I was just super invested. I literally stopped playing Minecraft for... I think the prison one is half an hour just to watch this video. And then the other 2 as well. The other 2 I watched, later that night. And they were all... Oh my gosh. I know I'm, fanboying right now. But, this is some good shit, man. And I guess there's a lot of other people, he says he was inspired by someone called, Magic Gum. So there's, a lot of other people doing this sort of thing, these, civilization things. And I'm sure there's a lot of trash out there. But, these 3, it's such good drama. It's really well done. I was super impressed. I got a lot of enjoyment out of them. So that's me done fanboying for the minute. Next up, so last week, when Pookie showed up, she mentioned she was playing Overcooked. And just out of happenstance, I mentioned that I owned Overcooked 1 and 2, but not Overcooked All You Can Eat. I actually found out that I do own Overcooked All You Can Eat. Because it was a free game through PlayStation Plus. But I only have a single PlayStation controller. So even though I owned Overcooked All You Can Eat, I've never played it because of that. And even though Overcooked All You Can Eat is online, I don't have any friends, so yeah. But yeah, so I do actually own that game, which I found interesting. But I actually did end up playing a little Overcooked 2, right, with, and yeah. I played through the first, I just continued from where I left off in Overcooked 2 in, the second world. And completed the second world, completed the third world, completed the fourth world, and it was all going... Again, I think if you played the original Overcooked, and you liked it, but you didn't love it, definitely buy All You Can Eat, but give the second one a chance, because I do totally think the second one fixes a lot of problems with the first game. And I was having a blast playing Overcooked 2. And admittedly, we were doing pretty good. It was just 2 of us, so there were only 2 people. So it was a lot for 2 people to do to get all that food out. So we definitely weren't getting 3 stars on every match. But we only ever failed like 2 levels. And one of them was the last level of the 4th world, which we had to do like 5 times. It kept kicking our ass so much. Because, yeah, it was it a mine? Was it like... Oh, what was the last level of... It was... I think it was like a minecart thing. Where like... Oh, yeah, you had minecarts at the back walls, and they were like moving ingredients back and forth. And we just couldn't do it. And it was chaos. But I had a lot of fun playing Overcooked 2 again. Man, it's... I played it on Switch, you know, used a half a Joy-Con. Worked really well. Yeah, I really enjoy Overcooked 2. I kind of want to beat it again, but I don't know if I'll ever get around to that. But just for like a one-day thing, yeah, that was really good. Played a little bit of Ultimate Chicken Horse, because I hadn't played Chicken Horse since the new level came out, the roller coaster. So I got to try out the roller coaster, because I played it with someone who had never played Chicken Horse before. So yeah, I did win. Basically, there was one match that was close, but the rest I basically just swept in. But Ultimate Chicken Horse is still fun. The new roller coaster map, we made it very hard for ourselves. Right? It was like, it became like impossible, right? We really put ourselves up against a corner. But in like the second round, I got the first part of a teleporter. So I placed it, and they had no idea what the teleporter was. So then in like the second, because none of us were scoring. Like we had literally, I think I had made it to the goal maybe twice the entire thing, because we just made it so hard so fast. But at the end, with like 3 rounds left to go, I got the other half of the teleporter, and then I just sat on it until the last turn, in which I was like, hey, do you want to see the secret? And I just used the teleporter, and that was so funny. Yeah, so playing Chicken Horse, playing Overcooked 2, a lot of fun, man. I love both those games. I played a little bit more of Nintendo Switch Sports, you know. If they announced that there's like a robot costume, I don't care, honestly. Right now I'm purely in it for the wooden bowling ball, which I still haven't gotten yet. I'm having terrible luck getting that wooden bowling ball, but I'm sure I will eventually. And then I started up Rick and Morty VR, right? The virtual reality. But right now I'm having with the PlayStation VR. So it has like, you have the camera and it tracks everything via like light sensors in the headset, which is how it like tracks the hand movement. But right now I feel like my camera is positioned wrong, because like I go to pick something off the ground in the virtual Rick and Morty virtual reality, and like my hand goes out of the camera's view and I just can't pick anything up. It just becomes impossible. So I wonder if I've positioned the camera wrong, right? And like that's where all my problems are coming in, is that I just poorly position the camera, and that's what's screwing me up on everything. So yeah, so starting Rick and Morty virtual reality, I didn't have that good of a time because that kept happening. But again, I wonder if it's just me doing something wrong. And like, if I just reposition the camera, will it work better? So I did play it, but I'm not going to speak too much on it, because I think right now I'm going to have to do some more testing before I officially like rule that it's like a hardware error, or that, right, it's an error of the game and not just me being like very shitty with this camera. So close as well. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to more time, but I did actually pick up. So as part of getting random videos to watch in the background, something that just randomly popped up from YouTube's algorithm was Rage Quit Surgeon Simulator. So I rewatched the entire Rage Quit Surgeon Simulator series. Classics. Classic videos. Or I think it becomes Play Pals at some point. But still, either way, it starts off Rage Quit, becomes Play Pals. Great videos, right? Do the alien surgery and all that. But then I was like, oh yeah, they released Surgeon Simulator Virtual Reality. Oh, I wonder if... Because PlayStation is doing a sale right now. And I was like, I wonder if that's on sale. $5. And I was like, oh, I can't resist that. Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted VR. That's on sale as well, so I picked that up. And I picked up Super Hot VR, which I think, again, was also like $5. Maybe it was something like that. So for like $30, I just picked up 3 more VR games. And I don't know when I'm gonna get to FNAF VR, but I'm excited for that one, man. I hope that's good. But yeah, I'm having fun with VR. I really want to get it working like to its peak performance, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Yeah, VR is very fun. It's kind of gimmicky, but you know, that's not always a bad thing. The Wii was kind of gimmicky, and while I know public perception on the Wii is kind of mixed, not even public perception, just perception within the gamer sphere is kind of mixed, I still think the Wii is a good system. I think the Wii gets just a little too much shit. Some of the shit it gets is definitely deserved. But some of it, I think people are a little too hard on the Wii. It's got some good games. But yeah, so I guess that takes us to TV shows. So the first thing, I read Miss Marvel, or I watched the first episode of Miss Marvel. So I have read the Miss Marvel comic. I've read the original run, which I think was 8 issues. And then I read the second run, which was, God, like 30 something. From like 2014, 2015. Until like 2019. So yeah, it was like 30-ish issues. So I've read Miss Marvel. I have only read like a dozen comic books. Miss Marvel is one of them. We even probably near the end of Animal Crossing, in the start of In Chat Season 3, I probably even talked about the Miss Marvel comics. I know I talked about them at some point on stream. I just don't remember if it was during Animal Crossing or during this show. But yeah, the first episode of Miss Marvel finally came out on Wednesday, and I liked it. I think it's pretty good. There are some changes to comics. Some of it's fine. Like, right, in the comics, Miss Marvel is a fangirl. She writes fan fiction, and we do definitely see the opening of the show is guess what? She's a YouTuber. And I think they call it MeTube in the Marvel Universe, if I remember correctly. But right, she's making Avengers shorts out of like cardboard and whatnot. And it's like really well animated. I don't know, we've been getting a lot, again, I think of Mitchell versus the Machines. We've been getting a lot of that recently. And it's all been, again, it's something that I relate to personally. But yeah, you know, she's a fangirl, just trying to make her best, you know, be a big Marvel fan. Instead of her in the comics, she goes to like a very traditional like house party. In this one, she goes to Avengers Con. And there's like this whole, right, it's an Avengers themed convention. But I love the joke where, because people don't know, right, because Groot was only on Earth in the Marvel Universe for like, I don't know, maybe a few hours at most. Nobody knows Groot's name, so they just call him Mr. Tree. Because they talk about how, like, people know what happened at the Avengers battle against Thanos on Earth, right at the end of Endgame. And they specifically say that part of the reason people know what happened is because Scott Lang has a podcast, which, God, I hope they work that into the movie. I really hope the beginning of Ant-Man Quantumanium is Scott Lang on his podcast. God, pull the Mac and Me joke from Conan and just put that make that canon in the MCU. Oh my God, that would be so fucking funny. I don't watch Conan, but if you've never seen the Mac and Me thing, it's Oh, it's one of the best things to ever happen in Conan, and that's Paul Rudd. Ah, so fucking good. Go look that up. I think there's a supercut you can find, and it's really funny. I should have watched more Conan. I don't know. I hear his podcast is amazing. So, yeah. I should maybe listen to that. But yeah, no, I want that. I want that in a movie at some point as a reference, because, yeah, that's really funny. I still think, you know, maybe, like, security cam or somehow footage got leaked of it, but... Because there's a lot of detail, but it's still really cool. And, yeah, the show... I've seen a lot of people comparing Miss Marvel to, Scott Pilgrim, other Edgar Wright movies. What was the other thing it was compared to? Scott Pilgrim... Oh, I guess Into the Spider-Verse. And yeah, because one of the things that comic book movies have kind of struggled with is being comic books. And if you want an example, go look up Ang Lee's Hulk. Like, that's a comic book movie that was trying to be a comic book, and it just didn't work. But in recent years, comic book movies have figured out how to be comic books. And Miss Marvel is a great version of that. Like, there's one point where Kamala and Bruno are riding their bikes, talking about the Miss Marvel cosplay. And we see, like, on graffiti on the walls, all these, like, visual representations of the cosplay. Very creative. This is probably the most creative representation of a text message I have ever seen. Where they're texting each other, but instead of, you know, just, like, popping up bubbles on the screen like most other movies do. No. Instead... she has like a star projector in her room, so the text appears in the star projector. The text Bruno replies to her with shows up in a neon sign at the Circle Q where he works, right? Emojis show up in replacement of the Circle Q sign. It's all very creative, and I know for some people that's going to be a lot. Again, not everybody likes Scott Pilgrim, right? And it does a lot of that, but no, I think this really works. It's very creative, but I feel like, again, with her being the YouTuber and, you know, them going for a more, not kid-friendly, but, you know, going for that different aesthetic, I think it all works really well. Visually, I think the show is great. The Avengers Con is a lot of fun. I guess Kevin Feige has said, God, I got screwed. I got screwed there at the end. Has said that after doing an Avengers Con in the MCU for Miss Marvel, he is now considering doing one for real. God. I don't know why it keeps beeping. I'm gonna unbeep that. But yeah, so I think the episode was good. Kamala Khan, I think, is perfect casting. I don't remember the actress's name. I think she's a great cast for the character. I think the mom's casted really well. The dad, admittedly, I think the dad is very different, because like in this episode, she wants to go to Avengers Con, and right, her parents are like no, but then they're like okay, because yeah, in the comics she's not going to like a convention, she's going to like a party, and she sneaks out and, you know, drinks alcohol, and even though she doesn't like it. But in this, right, her father agrees to go along with her and dresses up as the Hulk, which she should have just shown her mom the costume, because she's wearing it when they come in. But yeah, definitely the dad in the comics would have never done that. So they made the dad more fun, which I don't mind at all. The brother is... So I really like her brother in the comics. I think he's done very well. So I want, and like so far what we see of the brother, I want that all to go over very well, right? I want things to be good with that. He is already engaged. That is, so in the comics, again, during the second run, right, I should look up the writer's name. But during the right, you meet his wife, and you meet her, and right, her and Kamala get along, so I hope she shows up at one point, because she has a very like, the brother has a bigger role, but she has a very minor role, but I really like her as well. Yeah, and then Nakia, I don't, like, Bruno is spot on, right? He's exactly how I'd expect him in the comics. I like that they're working in the tech-related aspects of his character, right, with him making the Zuzu, right, like an Amazon Echo sort of thing. I like that they're working that into it, because, yeah, he is a tech genius. But yeah, so I think they're doing Bruno good. I worry what they're doing with Nakia. Because Nakia, well, I do consider Bruno her best friend. Nakia is also very important, and I know they are making some changes to her. Like, she's not in a hijab, and I do feel like that kind of takes away. Because, well, yeah, she is the liberal best friend, who does actually, at one point in the comics, actually start a protest against Miss Marvel, which is actually it's good. It's a good dynamic that I feel like they didn't go into enough detail with. But yeah, so I do want, she's barely in the episode. She is, but she's barely in it. So I hope we get more of her. Admittedly, I do feel like we didn't get enough of her in the comics, but they do make it where it counts. Who else? I guess let's talk about Zoe Zimmer. So Zoe, in this first episode, she makes fun of Kamala in a very, Zoe is never, like, one of the things that right, like, when you think bully, a lot of people think, you know, Flash from Spider-Man, where it's like the very traditional, right, punch bully. But that's not how bullying works in the modern day. And that's something I really like about the MCU's Flash, is that he's actually smaller than Peter Parker. But because bullying bullying, yes, that's how bullying worked in the 60s. Where if someone was a bully, they'd stuff you in a locker, right? They'd beat you up. They'd steal your lunch money. That's not how bullying works anymore. A bully who's smaller than you is, I think, I think Flash is a great adaptation in the MCU. And I feel like a lot of people give him shit. No. And Zoe Zimmer is kind of the same way. Like, she doesn't call out Kamala directly, both in the show and in the comics, but she's still insulting. She's just insulting in a more subtle way. Oh, why am I stuck there? So, yeah, I like, so far we see that. But then when they get to Avengers Con, we actually, right, she's there and they're like, oh, what's Zoe doing here? She's not even a fan of the Avengers, right? But then we get this confrontation between Zoe and Kamala in costume, where Zoe doesn't know it's Kamala, and she actually kind of fangirls out. So she is actually a secret fan, right? And, spoiler, no, I'm not going to say anything. I could spoiler alert it, and here's what I'll say. Spoiler alert, Zoe does get redeemed eventually. And we already see that get set up at the end of the first episode with, because in the comics, Zoe falls into a lake and is saved by Kamala, who has transformed into Carol Danvers. Which I'll talk about the power changes in a second. But in this in this show, she gets hit by like a prop Thor's hammer and is saved by Kamala. So, and that's in her getting saved by Kamala is what starts her redemption. So I do definitely think that we're going to get her redemption in this show. They've already set up the pieces for it in this first episode, and it is an important moment for the character. Both characters, actually. So I want that to come back. Again, let's talk about the powers. So, I don't like the change of powers. I like her embiggening powers in the comics. I think they're interesting. But, so them changing them, I've been disappointed the entire time. And seeing them in this first episode, yeah, I'm definitely not sold on them. But I think the official reason, and I do get it. A lot of people have been saying the fan speculation for why Kamala has different powers is because it would be too similar to Reed Richards. I think that explanation is bullshit. Right? Like, yeah, there are plenty of characters who have similar powers in comics. Right? That's not going to change anything. They can have two characters with similar powers. I think Marvel has a much bigger hurdle in front of them with explaining the difference between Mr. Fantastic and Multiverse of Madness and Mr. Fantastic and the eventual Fantastic Four movie. I think that's going to create much bigger complications, in my opinion. But no, after seeing the episode, I've come to the realization that the reason they changed the powers was to make her more like Carol Danvers. Because, you know, they're going to do the Marvels eventually. And what that's going to lead to is, right, Captain Marvel, Spectre, and Miss Marvel all being together. And so it kind of makes sense for them to all have similar-ish powers. Or at least that's probably Marvel's perspective on it. Right? To give Miss Marvel a very similar power set to Captain Marvel. And I do think that now giving her a different power set definitely, in my opinion, takes away from it. Because one of the important things about Kamala's character is that, and she says it in this first episode, like, oh, there are no brown girls from Jersey who are superheroes. And in the comics, that's reflected because when she gets her embiggening powers, she literally transforms herself to look like Carol Danvers until she eventually, you know, gains some more confidence in herself and starts looking like, you know, more of the Miss Marvel design. And I do definitely feel like they're trying to do some of that with her being cosplay, and I'm sure the convenience store robbery will happen in a future episode, spoiler alert. But, I do definitely feel like they are taking away somewhat from it by not having her turn into, Carol Danvers and, like, have that struggle. But then part of the other reason I think they changed the powers is because, as we've seen from the She-Hulk trailer, getting CGI in these Marvel TV shows is never... Again, I think it's better than CW stuff, but it's never going to look amazing. So I do wonder if part of the reason they're changing the powers is because the stretchy powers, like she should have in the comics, wouldn't look as good with the MCU TV show CGI. That's my speculation as why they've changed the powers, is because it just wouldn't look as good. I do definitely think it's more of the first reason than the second reason, but I do think the second reason comes into play, and I think the Mr. Fantastic thing is completely bullshit. That's just fan speculation, and I think it's totally wrong. But yeah, I enjoyed the first episode. I do have some questions about where the show's going to go in the future. Like, are they going to do the Inventor? Is that going to be the main villain of this, like, the show? I know Damage Control is going to show up at some point. How are they going to work that in? Please I don't think they're going to go straight away to, Outlawed. They could do that eventually. I think they're going to have to make the Champions first. Oh, Marvel did confirm a Thunderbolts movie, which has been rumored for like 3 years now. More fan speculation than an actual rumor, but it made sense. But yeah, I think we're going to get either Young Avengers or Champions. I don't know what they're going to call themselves first. But yeah, I'm assuming we're going to get that. But we know Damage Controls is in this show at some point. I also do hope we see the Canadian Ninjas. I think that would be a nice little, as goons working for the Inventor. I think that would be not neat. Yeah. But yeah, so far, first episode-wise, but yeah, I was just trying to think of, where would they take her pal? What, are we going to get, a main antagonist? Again, I think it would be the Inventor, because that's her first antagonist in the comics. But maybe that doesn't fit the style of the show. I know part of the Champions run anyways is that not everything is about supervillains, right? There are just real evils in the world, and not everything can be fixed by punching a guy. At least from what I've read of the Champions. Admittedly, I was big into Miss Marvel, right? I read both those runs, right? The 30 and the 8. And then I started reading the Champions, and then I just kind of fell off during the Champions. It was okay, you know, I really should get back into it, and maybe watching the show will get me back into it, but just something I've been thinking about. Yeah, who's going to be the antagonist for the show? I don't know, I have more hopes for what they can do in the future, but a lot of it spoilers, because for once I actually know what I'm talking about, and I feel like I've already given away enough. I mean, Zoe Zimmer getting a redemption, Canadian Ninjas... Yeah, those are major spoilers, man, so they're not. They're really not. I really like how they do Zoe Zimmer redemption in the comics. One of the best bully redemptions. Just straight up. Wow, I actually went over it that time. So yeah, I hope they do it well in the show. I don't want her to just be, you know, Degrassi Mean Girl. That show was called Degrassi, right? I never watched it, so I wouldn't know. So I guess our final thing of the night is She-Ra Season 4. Let me pull up the episode list. Again, I wanted to talk about this last week, but by the time we went 4 hours last week, I was so fucking out of it. So I guarantee you I've forgotten some things over the past week since we last talked about it. But yeah, so what was going on in She-Ra last we talked? Oh, so the season 4 starts off with the coronation. So, right, with the queen sacrificing herself at the end of season 3, at the start of season 4, Glimmer gets coronated. She's now the queen, which puts her in this new dynamic of power, that she's now in charge, and, you know, everyone's got to listen to her, but she's now got more responsibilities, and she's now more important, so, like, the rest of the group can't go on missions with her, because, you know, what if she gets hurt, right? She becomes her mother, basically. But yeah, we start off with the coronation, and they do that thing where it's like everyone's trying to focus on the coronation and not talk about the queen, but that makes her think that, oh, they don't care about the queen. And, oh, I've never seen this layout before. That's interesting. But yeah, it just creates complications, honestly, and this season is all about the internal drama. The major thing that happens this season is that everyone is pitted against each other, right? Nobody trusts each other anymore. Because, yeah, basically the main three, right, the best friend squad has a falling out. And a lot of it is through manipulation. But even though they are being manipulated, everything they say is still true, right? Them all yelling at each other. It's not like they made any of that up, you know? So yeah, then they go to the Valley of the Lost, because they go to recover, oh my god, the old She-Ra, God, what's her name? God, I really wanted to talk about this last week, because I knew I would forget things. It's not Minerva. You know, if she, speaking of Gamora, okay, just top of my head, if she hadn't shown up in Captain Marvel, I would assume Minerva would be the villain of the Marvels, or at least one of them. Also, she's played by the same person who plays Cersei in Eternals, so that's the other complication. But yeah, I was thinking, I had that thought, but that's a whole other thing. Back to She-Ra, Valley of the Lost. They go to get the ship back. Mara. Her name's Mara. I knew I was thinking Minerva for a reason. Her name is Mara. Mara's ship is stuck in the wasteland, and meanwhile, Catra and Scorpia are trying to recover the ship, and they end up meeting Double Trouble, a shapeshifter who, you know, who's able to become Catra and Scorpia, and, you know, is all around manipulative, but, you know, and so Catra hires her, him, them. I actually don't remember what pronouns they use for Double Trouble. Admittedly, I think they use mostly female pronouns, but that's because Flutterina? I actually don't know what pronouns they use. I'm just going to alternate between all three if that works for you all, but there's probably an official one. Huh, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, so Double Trouble is a shapeshifter who can become anybody. So yeah, they're non-binary, probably anyways. I just knowing the type of show this is, I'm assuming so. But yeah, so Double Trouble and Catra meets Double Trouble. Also in Coronation, Catra rips out Hordak's gym and like threatens him like, hey, if we haven't taken out the planet by the time Horde Primes arrives, everything's gonna be fucked. So we got to take over the planet. So Catra has basically cemented herself at the top of the totem pole in this episode. and the coronation, right? She's now basically, even though Hordak is still in charge, she's kind of bossing around Hordak, right? But yeah, I think they're able to recover the ship, but it doesn't matter because Double Trouble. Then the next episode, right, this is where Glimmer starts to feel lonely because she's out on her own. This is where she starts getting training from Shadow Weaver and learning magic because, you know, everyone else is out adventuring and they're being thrown parties in, like, villages they're saving from the Horde. And while out saving a village one day from the Horde, they meet Flutterina, who's, you know, a nice, cute little girl who's all sunshine and rainbows, but really is a big fan of She-Ra and wants to join the rebellion. And it's like, admittedly, I don't think the episode starts off obviously that way, but definitely like 2/3 of the way into the episode, it's like, oh, Flutterina's Double Trouble. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, they've now officially got like a spy in the group, which actually I think is a very, like, that makes a lot of sense. And it's both, in like the spy, Double Trouble is doing, right, double things. On one hand, they're leaking plans of the rebellion to the Horde, so that way Catra can see them coming and foil their plans. But on the other hand, they're also breaking up the best friend squad by getting Glimmer to argue with She-Ra, right, getting Glimmer and She-Ra to hate each other. Meanwhile, Bo's just in the middle being Bo. But yeah, the other two are just constantly at fighting. Because yeah, that's kind of the big theme this season. Well, okay, Catra's big theme is loneliness. I'll fully admit that one. I mean, at the beginning of for the first half of the season, she's right. She's gone full into, like, if the last season was her, like, annihilation, like, just destroy everything. This season, it's more, right, she starts off with, like, anger. But by the second half, it's loneliness. Definitely. But yeah, the main group, meanwhile, is just, they get, right, it's the end of the friendship. It's the best friend squad gets destroyed. Because they can all no longer trust each other. Because, yeah, things aren't going pretty well for the best friend squad. And Double Trouble, as Flutterina, is able to manipulate them to not trust each other. And, I mean, and again, some of it is, like, Glimmer does feel more lonely. The fact that because she's now queen, she keeps getting left behind on missions. So some of that totally does happen. It's not entirely manipulation. And what they're saying, again, I know I've used Justice League and Justice League Unlimited for comparisons on the show in the past. But there's a great episode where they all get manipulated and yell at each other. And then afterwards, they're like, oh, we were being manipulated. And Batman's like, yeah, we were, but everything we said was the truth. Right? We're all still angry at each other. God, Justice League is the fucking great show. Oh my god. But yeah, that's kind of, right. They never say that, like, oh yeah, even though we were being manipulated by Double Trouble, everything they put into us, it's all real. We get a few side character episodes, interestingly enough. Like, in one episode, we get... Which one is it? I think it's in the 4th episode, Pulse. Where, okay, I don't remember where it is. But we get more, in this season, we get more of the side characters. Spinnerella and her girlfriend / wife, I don't actually know if they're married, who haven't showed up since the last episode of season 4. Finally, I think they show up in Pulse. They might show up in a different one. But I know they show up again for the first time since, right, the end of season 4. They show up again in the episode Protocol. The 3 other cadets that Catra and Adora were in training with show up again, and they get a big focus of an episode. So that's one of the things this season does do, is some of those side characters who have been all but forgotten about the last 2 seasons finally get some more focus. Not much. Again, they mostly get an episode. And then, like, I don't know if Spinnerella and her girlfriend show up again. Whose, again, name I keep forgetting. But I don't think Kyle and the other 2, the lizard guy and the other girl whose name I don't remember, I think they show up, like, once or twice, because I know Catra yells at them a few times. But yeah, so we get some more focus on the side characters. Meanwhile, Glimmer is getting trained by Shadow Weaver and is growing more trusting of her than she is Adora, right? Because her and Adora start having this falling out. They start yelling at each other. Meanwhile, Shadow Weaver's teaching her magic, showing her how much stronger she could be. And yeah, because, again, I'm sure there's going to be, in the 5th season, there's going to be some sort of twist reveal, and Shadow Weaver's going to betray Glimmer. I'm sure that's inevitably going to happen. But, yeah, for the moment, they're kind of building up that. And it's not like Shadow Weaver's making her hate Adora. That's, again, that's just kind of they're naturally pitting themselves against each other, and Double Trouble's the one causing the conflict. It's just that Adora doesn't trust Shadow Weaver, and she has all the reason to. And it's like, and Shadow Weaver still doesn't have all the reason to, you know, trust them. Oh my god, that almost sounded terribly. Protocol, that's episode 5. In this one, we learn about, we learn a little bit more about, Light Hope. Oh my gosh. I'm really annoyed that I spent an extra week on this. I'm forgetting all the names. And we find out a little, like, basically there's a spore thing that causes Light Hope to reboot. And we find out that she used to actually be kind of, you know, happy and whatnot. And, you know, when she was training Mara, everything was good. But now she's become this cold, uncaring robot. I know I'm pretty sure I've compared her to Synergy from Jim and the Holograms. But yeah, it's definitely, like, in this season, like, I've never felt that Light Hope was evil until this season. But yeah, definitely in this episode, they really start hinting at it. Or they basically directly, it's a little bit more complicated than straight up evil. But they more directly say it. And, oh god, what's the evil from Jim and the Holograms? There's Synergy, and then there's an evil Synergy named, oh fuck, what is the name of evil Synergy? God, I don't fucking remember. But I know there's an evil Synergy in Jim and the Holograms. So it's not Ophelia, but it's something like that. And that comes in, and right, that's kind of what Light Hope becomes. Even though, again, there's no, like, 2 versions of her. I'm looking it up because it really annoys me. Silica. Yep, there we go. It's Silica. Okay. I knew I'd find it. It just took me a second. But yeah, so we're definitely getting the hint that not everything is as simple as it seems. Then we get again, a lot of side characters get their own episodes. We get a Princess Scorpia episode where, right, she comes to the realization that Catra is not a good friend. This is where Catra starts her loneliness thing. Oh, is this? Which episode does the Horde enactor plan in? I'll just talk about it at the end of this one. I think it happens technically before this one, but I think it happens at the end of, either at the end of Protocol or at the end of Pulse. I kind of don't remember. Oh, crap. But yeah, so Princess Scorpia gets her own episode. And now one of the interesting things, so in the last season, we are either in the last season or like 2 seasons ago, we get Light Hope's backstory. Or Light Spinner. You know, Shadow Weaver, like the old Shadow Weaver. When she was good and she was training Glimmer's dad. And in her backstory, they point out that when the Horde took the Black Garnet, they took it by force. Which, you know, and according to Scorpia, her family surrendered the Black Garnet. So it oh my god, they actually held on. So it's like, oh, is there a false narrative? Was Scorpia told wrong? Right? Did the Horde actually take her, and then and put her into the Horde, and like enslave her, and make her think that, oh, her family actually surrendered? It's just something I've been thinking about. Right? They don't actually confirm or deny anything in this episode, but it was a thought in the back of my mind. But yeah, in this episode, Scorpia realizes that Catra is a bad friend, because she is, in my opinion anyways, romantically in love with Catra, and Catra does not feel the same way back. And since Catra got rid of Entrapta in the third season, which is how she's able to step back in and become Hordax number 2, Scorpia and Catra have kind of been on the outs. And this is the episode that finally breaks her, and she just tells Catra, "You're a bad friend," and leaves the Horde. Of course, Catra doesn't realize that at first, but it's still interesting nevertheless. But yeah, so eventually the Horde, like throughout the first half of the season, they're like working on this plan in the background, right? They've got something going on, this big plan, and we eventually find out that big plan, well, besides for Hordak building like a arm cannon super weapon, it's also that they've been amassing this like boat army to take over all the coast, right? That if they control the seas, then they control the world. So they're trying to control all of the seas. And yeah, they eventually enact this plan and take over all of the coast. Again, this happens either at the end of this episode. No, it happens at the end of next episode. Yeah, shit. The next episode, More Mysteries, is when, because everything's been going wrong, right? It's like the Horde knows what they're thinking. They figure that, oh, there must be a spy between them, and Mermista does the whole Mer Mysteries thing to figure out who the spy is. So we get to, again, us as the audience, we know who the spy is, but it's all the characters figuring it out. And again, this is where I get the whole, like, oh, everything they're saying about each other is true, even if they are being manipulated, because they fake an argument at the end to flush out Flutterina, taking advantage of, like, the others being angry with each other. But again, even though they know they're being manipulated, it's all true. But yeah, Mer Mysteries, they talk about like mystery books, and again, we spend a lot more time with some of the other princesses who, aren't just the best friend group. Again, this show has some good side characters. I like when they spend some more time with them. And yeah, and we even get a little bit of time with some of the guards here, right? Some of the other guards that work in the palace. Not much. But yeah, so at the end of this episode, right, Mermista's kingdom has fallen, the Sea Gate's been destroyed, and the Horde is taking over the coasts and more beyond that. Then we get Boys' Night Out, which is, so after we've had this very serious moment with the kingdom falling, the next episode is more lighthearted with the boys, right, going out, and then Seahawk intentionally fakes them being kidnapped to try to, like, get the girls to, like, work together to rescue them. But then he gets double-crossed and sold to the Horde, and everyone comes and rescues them anyways. But right, this isn't a Saturday morning cartoon where everything gets wrapped up in 20 minutes. And at the end of the episode, Adora and Glimmer still are mad at each other. Yep. Because, this is not the first show I've seen do this. But yeah, I think he even says something to that effect. Like, oh, if only these things got wrapped up in 22 minutes. In Hero, we find out a bit more about Mara, and specifically Raz. And so we find out Raz, like, there's this weird thing where it's like, oh, is Raz living? Does she have, like, dementia or Alzheimer's? And is she, like literally, like, thinking she's going back to the past, like, reliving these memories? But no, by the end of it, Raz can really time travel, right? She's literally living between the present with She-Ra and Adora and the past with Mara. And there is kind of this tragic element where it's like, oh, Mara told me, well, we'd bake a pie tomorrow, and then she never returned. Because this is our big... So, again, another Raz showed up in the first episode. or in the second or third episode, showed up for like a single moment in the start when like the season 3 when the world got reset, and then this is the first time she's shown up since then. So right, this is a character we've only seen like 3 times. Again, season 4 gives a lot of time to the side characters, and I don't think that's a bad idea. And so, but they eventually, right after some journeys between Raz and Mara and Adora and Raz, we eventually find out what happened. Right, the reason why Mara. Okay, so at the end of the when they find Mara's ship, Mara makes it sound like to escape the Horde, she trapped them in this alternate dimension without the stars. That's what it makes it seem like. Then we find out in this episode that the reason she trapped them in this other dimension was not to escape the Horde, but instead to escape the cluster. Because they find out that within the planet's core, there is this super weapon that can be used to destroy planets, but it will probably also destroy Etheria. So yeah, that's what Mara was so scared about. So yeah, Light Hope is basically evil. And the where Mara came from and where Adora came from is also kind of evil. So, which again does make me wonder where is the separation between the first ones and the Horde? And I do kind of wonder if Horde Prime sprung out of Mara separated them from the planet. So now whatever the first ones no longer have the super weapon. So instead Horde Prime clones himself. And like that's where he comes from. Just speculation on my part, but I think it's interesting. Or at least that's what I've been thinking about recently. Right, watching this. Yeah, that's a thought I had watching this episode. Yeah, it's again. I think the ending bit with the pie is kind of sad, but I think it gives us a lot of backstory, right? A lot of that, like that information that we've been wondering about, we now finally know. And yeah, and they confirm that Raz is time traveling because Mara knows Adora's name, which is needlessly complicated, but you know what? It's fine. And yeah, you find out that the first ones are evil, and that She-Ra is both artificially created by the first ones, but is also the guardian of the planet. So there's a little bit of X and a little bit of Y in there. It's not a very simple like black and white. Because She-Ra as the guardian of the planet has always been the guardian of the planet, but the sword she uses is fake. It was created by the first ones to harness the planet's energy to make their super weapon. Okay, there's nothing. Where are they spawning? Oh, here we go. Oh my god, we were so close. Let's see. So yeah, the super weapon, the heart, I keep calling the cluster. Cluster is a Steven Universe reference. It's actually called the Heart of Etheria. This ends up splitting the team with, Glimmer wants to use it to stop the Horde. The Horde is taking more. They're basically losing the war now. So Glimmer wants to use the Heart of Etheria to, stop the Horde. Meanwhile, Adora and Bo say it's too dangerous. Scorpia shows up I thought Scorpia was going to go to Beast Island to go save Entrapta. No, she actually shows up here. And of course, Scorpia's a little cinnamon roll, so everyone's really nice to her. And she's surprised at how nice everyone is. I really like Scorpia. She's fan. I love this little cinnamon roll, man. She's so great. And so, there's this whole division, and eventually Glimmer, fully becomes her mom when she's like, no, you can't go and save Entrapta. Because they're like, oh, if Entrapta's alive on Beast Island, then we can use her to shut down the Heart of Etheria. And Glimmer's like, no, we have to use it. So this ends up fracturing the group because Bo and Glimmer run off to save, or Bo and Adora run off to save Entrapta, while Glimmer stays behind with Shadow Weaver, who tells her like, "Oh well, we can use the Heart of Etheria. You should go talk to Light Hope." And yeah, in the next episode, she goes and talks to Light Hope and is like, "I want to use the super weapon." And Light Hope's like, "Oh yeah, okay, let's do it." To do it, you need the other princess, right? All the princesses need to be aligned with their crystal, which, to be fair, was She-Ra's goal in a previous episode. Right? I think Light Hope tells her that at the end of the first season. And yeah, it was kind of completely forgotten about after that. And that every princess is aligned, except for Scorpia. And at the end of the Princess Scorpia episode, we see, like, the Black Garnet Glimmer, but she's never had a connection to it. So now it's like the time to like get that connection and finally go and finally form that connection. So Glimmer takes Scorpia to the Horde. Meanwhile, this entire time, Catra has been like, she hasn't slept in days. None of her soldiers have slept in days. She's kind of going a little bit crazy. And then she realizes Scorpia's abandoned her. So she pulls a Loki from Thor the Dark World and just destroys everything. Because, yeah, she's lonely. She does, like, because Hordak is having, like, so much fun destroying stuff out in the field that he abandons her, and she yells at, like, her platoon, like, all the soldiers, you know, the Kyle and the other two, whose name I don't remember. So, yeah, Scorpia's just lonely. Catra's just lonely. Meanwhile, Scorpia's having a blast with her new friends, and now Glimmer's like, "Oh, you have an opportunity to stop this? Sure, I'll help you." Because everyone's so nice here. Meanwhile, as I said is it the end of the first season? Maybe it's the second season. They mentioned Beast Island, and I was like, okay, eventually they're going to go to Beast Island. If you set up Mega Jail, eventually you have to go to Mega Jail, right? Usually the second book takes place in Mega Jail. And so I was waiting for them to go to Beast Island. They finally do go to Adora and Bo go to Beast Island. And, you know, and we learn that Beast Island is just, like, all this ancient First Ones technology that has been, like, corrupted. And, like, so there's a ton of monsters here. But there's also, like, this sound that just makes you lose your will. So, and, like, Bo and Glimmer can't hear it. Or I keep saying Bo and Glimmer because they're so interlinked. Bo and Adora can't hear it, but the horse Swiftwind can. And then they're, like, 1 second away from enacting the never-ending story. Right, where the horse gets stuck in the swamp of unbearable sadness. But while on Beast Island, Bo and Adora find out that Glimmer's dad is still alive. That was not I'll be honest, I did not see that twist coming. But it makes sense because in the rewritten reality episodes, right, their dad is still there, right? The queen is his name Magica? It's something like that. He's still there. And it's like, oh, he's back with them because he's not really dead. Okay, that kind of makes sense, you know? I think that's very interesting. And again, it's one of those things where it's like, I would not have at all been surprised if he died by the end of the episode. Like, I didn't think they would. But it also, just the way this whole thing has been set up, it wouldn't have surprised me. Again, I'm thinking like Thomas Wayne in Flashpoint. I mean, he technically doesn't die, but, you know, timeline gets reset. And it's just like, oh, tell Bruce I love him, right? And I'm proud of him. So, yeah. I do really like that end, right? That's Flashpoint has its problems, but I do really like that. That moment's pretty good. And then I think later on they ruined it, but, you know, that's fucking Convergence, or whatever that comic was called. Mess. Oh, shit. Oh, we're gonna fall anyways. And then from there, right, we get Destiny, which is, so Double Trouble has been captured, and he does eventually break out. So now it's just, so right, as part of Catra being alone, they keep calling Double Trouble, who doesn't respond, And then Double Trouble shows up and is like, oh yeah, I broke out, but guess what? The moon... Oh god, I almost said Grayskull. The Moon Kingdom, the Moon Keep is undefended. So they start launching an invasion on the Moon Keep. Oh god, I'm forgetting its name. Meanwhile, right, Glimmer sneaks in with Scorpia to activate the Heart of Etheria to get her connected to the crystal. Oh, and then and then as part of this, Double Trouble, they tell Catra that she's like all alone, that everyone's abandoned her, because surprise, surprise, Catra, right? Part of it is Catra's loneliness. But this is something I thought of, because Double Trouble's a mercenary. He works for whoever pays him. So if Glimmer paid her to go back and mess with Catra, that would make sense. This is where Hordak finds out that Catra was the one who got rid of Entrapta, because this entire time he's thought Entrapta betrayed him. So Double Trouble reveals that information, which gets Catra and Hordak to fight each other. I think that's the start of because the season ends on a two-parter finale. And so the fight between Hordak and Catra, I was like, this is something they've been building towards all season, technically. And yeah, Hordak gets his ass kicked. And, well, Catra doesn't kill him, because he shoots like a crane thing that falls on him, and even that doesn't kill him, but it's a good fight. And because Glimmer and Scorpia are running around, because Scorpia eventually gets connected to the crystal, which gives all the princesses a power boost, but it also, starts powering up the Heart of Etheria, which could destroy the world. So Adora goes and confronts Lighthope, she does talk her out of firing the weapon. Because, yeah, Lighthope is more human. Yeah, I'll say that, more human. I don't know if they're actually called humans or not. I don't know if they're like Homs, or I'm sure they use like Etherians or something like that. Then she would like to admit. So yeah, and like she does actually start to feel bad because, she betrayed Mara and she wasn't always supposed to be this like killing machine. And so Adora ends up destroying the Crystal Palace, killing Lighthope, basically, and destroying the She-Ra sword. So She-Ra is no more by the end of the season. Because she eventually gets back with the dad, but then they find out Glimmer's gone, and the dad meets Shadow Weaver and is like, oh wait, what? And then at the end of the season, right, Hordak goes to kill Glimmer, but then Horde Prime shows up, takes them all up into a ship. Horde Prime, downloads all of Hordak's memories, admits that he's, super disappointed in Hordak, that he's been lying to him, and because Hordak is, supposed to be part of, this Horde Prime, they're all clones, but yet Hordak gave himself a name, so he gets, knocked out and taken for, reconditioning. And then Horde Prime goes to kill, and I like the color difference between Hordak and Horde Prime. Hordak is red, Horde Prime is green. Good color difference there. But yeah, and Horde Prime goes to kill Glimmer. But then Catra steps in and is like, no, there's a super weapon within the planet that he has no idea about. He had no idea the super weapon existed. Which, again, maybe the super weapon was created to stop him. Who knows? I'm sure we'll find out. But yeah, so Catra now basically pledges his allegiance to Horde Prime. And they keep Glimmer alive as a result. They need Glimmer to power the super weapon. And they don't know that the She-Ra sword has been destroyed. And yeah, so at the end of the episode, and yeah, Horde Prime has this massive army. So at the end of the season, basically everyone's at their lowest point. And yeah, because Horde Prime's shown up, they've all been captured, and everything's gone wrong. I knew Hordak was going to be betrayed, right? That Horde Prime was going to come in and take him. I'm honestly surprised he didn't kill him. Instead, they send him for, reconditioning. I'm honestly surprised he just wasn't straight up killed. That was a super obvious twist that I saw coming. Yeah, and then, but yeah, catch her getting that one last... Because again, she's lonely, but she would rather destroy everything than be happy, you know? That's just kind of how they've set up her character. So joining Horde Prime to help him, you know, take over and destroy the planet is better than her being happy. Okay, just gonna make it... And yeah, that's where the season ends. I haven't even... because I've been so addicted to Minecraft, I haven't even checked out the 5th season. For seasons 2, 3, and 4, I really struggled to, like, wait before watching the next episode. But, yeah, with Minecraft has kept me distracted. I think the last season, which we'll probably talk about next week, is also 13 episodes, so... Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited because Glimmer is now captured by Horde Prime. So when's she gonna meet her dad? Find out he's alive? Is her dad being alive enough to repair their friendship? Yeah, I'm super excited. It's a good show. Not a perfect show, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm having a good time with it. So yeah, I guess that takes us to the outro. Tomorrow is Microsoft and Bethesda Showcase. Of course, we will be covering it tomorrow. I think it's at what? 10 a.m. Pacific time? 1 p.m. Central? So yeah, we of course I will be I'm gonna go to bed probably right after this. I probably won't even upload this episode tonight. I'll probably just save the upload until tomorrow. So yeah, I'll upload this tomorrow. We went for, well, yeah, about 3 hours. Okay, that makes sense. We had a lot of news stories tonight. A lot of E3 shit. Again, maybe I should have saved this episode for tomorrow, but I'm also kind of glad I didn't. But yeah, I'm sure, you know, I'm probably waiting. Part of me is, I know, right, we'll talk about Xbox's showcase next week on episode 12. But part of me is also kind of waiting for Nintendo to do their showcase before I, like, fully put a bow on all this E3 stuff, you know? Like, I know I could just be like, oh yeah, here's my full thoughts on E3. Or Summer Games Fest, I mean. But, yeah, I'm kind of waiting for Nintendo to do something. Because, yeah, it just, like, even if their showcase isn't on the 16th, or, like, even if, right, the whole neon white thing was fake and everything, it was just someone clout chasing, it still makes sense for Nintendo to have a showcase. Of a direct, even just a general direct. So I don't want to call anything for Summer Games Fest. I mean, I can already tell you Devolver Digital is one, because Devolver Digital always wins. But that's just kind of what Devolver Digital does. Like, you know, them making fun of the industry is way better than anything the industry actually does. Yeah, again, I do want to get back to general streaming. I want to get back to Pokemon. And God, there's so much other shit I want to do as well. Like, I've been craving to replay, Mario Odyssey. I've been thinking about, I wouldn't stream it, but I've been thinking about replaying Undertale. Cause, I don't know, I just kind of really wanted to, so if it ever goes on sale on Switch, I'll pick it up again, because I never did. You know, if crowns are going away, I might as well just buy this costume. 30 minutes, yeah. I have the money, I might as well. I have a stupid amount of money. Ugh. Yeah, we went for about 3 hours. That makes sense. What time is it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, it's late. It's late. Oh god, I gotta remember that. Oh shit. I accidentally, for the timestamps, I accidentally started the timer 2 minutes late, so I have to remember the timer is off by 2 minutes. Shit, am I gonna remember that by tomorrow morning? I don't think I will. Ah, crap. Maybe it will get uploaded tonight. I don't know. God, I got so much shit to do, and it's like 1:30 in the morning. I almost started Horizon Zero Dawn. Because there was a point, like, right before I got into Minecraft, where I was just like, you know, I'm kind of bored. I need something to do. I want to play some game. So I almost started Horizon. But then, nope, Minecraft came along, and that was it. That was it. But yeah, so Fall Guys free-to-play launches. And yeah, 2 weeks. And we will probably day one. When free-to-play comes out, I will stream. I'll break the in-chat tradition and do it then. I don't know, I'm gonna look into this beta thing, see what it's about. We'll see. But yeah, anything else? Anything else? Not that I can think of. Yeah, but I will be back tomorrow for the Bethesda showcase. That's the plan for tomorrow, so hopefully we'll have fun with that. You know, we shall see. Yeah, with that, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Until next time, peace.